Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexi Outs here, and it's Tuesday, and we lost to the Bucks in a disappointing way with our full healthy roster. And yeah, we're gonna break it all down. I'm gonna help you guys feel better about this because I'm pretty numb to the losing at this point and what's happening. And even though they're fully healthy, I did not expect them to just magically turn on a button and just like be perfect all of a sudden. I think that this is the part of the problem right now with the disconnect in Raptors fan nation and the results and the disappointment of what's happening with them in these last two games with Orlando and Milwaukee specifically. Because seemingly we have the most of our players, our good players playing. We had barbecue playing for the first time last night, and it's not mattering. It's not mattering to get us winning or, even the sad thing is that these losses aren't close. And we're in a period of time in the season, pretty much since the mid December, where we're losing games and we're not even competing in these games anymore. Like at the beginning of the season, we were competing and losing to very good teams by close margins, even though we were not totally healthy at times. And we got used to that. And we could say, oh, well, at least we're competing. We're this close. Well, now it seems like we backtracked. And it also seems like we're healthy and this team's not good enough to compete in the league. But that is not true. And I'm going to debunk all that today because the signs are all there. We're going to be fine. And it's just there's certain things we got to understand in a rebuild process, that it's not just overnight, it's not just smooth, and it's not just something that happens really fast or quick at all. It's something that is needs a lot of change in different ways. And one of the ways it's going to happen is what happened this morning. They waived Bruno Fernando this morning. And his contract would have been guaranteed today. As some people noted in recent weeks, they were aware of the situation. And well, the Raptors have waived Bruno Fernando this morning. And that means that they have flexibility with the position on their team, just like they did last year. You can think about this situation last year where they kept a fluid spot on the roster where they signed 10 days and gave people tryouts over and over again. Now, why would they do this? Why would they do this? Why would they have 10-day tryouts throughout the end of the season like they did last year? Well, because they're searching and shuffling through trying to find keepers. And that's what we're going to do for the rest of the season. I can already tell. There's other bonuses to this. Blake Murphy on Blue Sky saying that this gives us $1 million extra breathing room under the tax to take on money in a trade. So in some ways, waiving Bruno Fernando is going to allow us to maybe possibly unload Bruce Brown easier. That'd be fantastic. It's also the open roster spot allows for us to take more players back in a trade. If we do a trade where we trade Bruce Brown, we can get 2 players for him instead of just 1. Also means we can convert somebody like Jamison Battle by the end of the year into a full roster spot and get a different two-way after that. So if we want to, because this is an issue, and a lot of people were wondering why Battle was not playing last night. Well, it's because he's got a certain limited amount of games left on his two-way contract that he can play for the Raptors, because he's been played so much since the beginning of the season. I think it's like somebody said in the chat last night, 18 games left that he can play for the Raptors with the two-way contract he's on. So this gives us a lot of flexibility in different ways. Bruno was not getting to play very much. And when he did play earlier in the season, he was ineffective and in some ways just not helpful. So, yeah, it's an interesting time. And basically, we've got the core guys that matter, the BBQ. We got Jakob. We got Grady. We got Jamal Shed. We got different guys, Jacoby Walter, that are part of the future that we're going to continue to develop with. But everybody else, let's not get it twisted. It can be upgraded and can get to a point where they're going to be better people possibly playing those minutes in the years to come as the young core matures. That's part of it right there, is that, do not have dismay over yesterday's game, because the cast can shuffle a bit around the main cast. The main cast stays because they're getting paid the big bucks, and we want to keep these guys, but guys around them will change. And that is where you get some of the increases from where you are right now to getting better. Also, very much that Scotty is continuing to get better and better every single night. In fact, he showed it again last night that he's willing to compete on a superstar level and try and take over the game for stretches and doing it in a very dominant way. The stuff that Scott's doing right now with his turnaround shots in the mid range is so awesome. It's so great to see. And I want more of it. I think, Scotty, you settling for like 20 to 25 points is not good enough. I want you to start pushing yourself to try and score 30 plus points on a regular basis. I want you to start pushing yourself to have a series of plays in a row where you are scoring every single time down the court because you are carrying us and closing a gap where the other team is ahead of us. I saw glimpses of it yesterday. The third quarter, Scotty Barnes going off for a little while there, scoring for himself. And I'm like, yeah, Scott, this is what all the greats have done in the history of the NBA. Their team is down and they carry them back to being even and overpassing them and taking the lead. That's something that Michael did many occasions for the Chicago Bulls, something that Kobe did for the Lakers. So, Scotty, this is something you've got to master and get better and better at. And you're doing great. I mean, considering in the first 3 years of your career, you did not do any of this alpha, I'm the franchise face, I'm going to carry the team, I'm going to be a selfish scorer kind of stuff. This is really just developed in the last month. This has not been something that was even apparent at the beginning of this year. And you know what I'm talking about. You can see it. You can see it on the court in the last few games, even if we're losing horribly. That Scotty is doing things differently. And this is the new challenge for him. You can be a very good NBA player, but there's always challenges for you and as you progress as a player and you get to new levels. Grady Dick's going through some of this right now, too. There's some questioning in the chat last night whether Grady should be starting right now because he's a weak link on defense and he's having such a hard time scoring and getting his shot off and making his shots. In some ways, I agreed with Kaloy. It was who it was. It was Carlo JS that said it. And I was like, you know what? That makes a whole bunch of sense because in some ways, Abaji in the starting lineup with the Raptors, Barbecue Yak, makes it a very defensive-oriented lineup, which can help right at the beginning. And then also you got Dick coming off the bench, adding some scoring off of the bench because one of the problems with the philosophy of starting your 5 best players is that your bench scoring can suffer for it. And that's been true in the last few games for the Raptors. The bench scoring has been anemic and awful and just not helpful to the starters who are carrying. Yeah, how do you get around that? How do you get around not making enough points to compete with your opponent who's bombing threes and meanwhile you can't hit a three? That's a big problem. That's very true in the NBA. If you go down every time and score a basket in the paint and get 2 points, meanwhile the other team's going down the other way and hitting threes and really, really doubling up on almost tripling up on threes on you, that's a huge deficit that you can't make up. And in some ways, that is the issue right now, that the Raptors are not a good 3-point shooting team, and other teams are lighting us up lately. In fact, Orlando and Milwaukee in these last 2 games have had extra special 3-point shooting nights where they shot the lights out and shot extremely well. Milwaukee exactly 50% from 3 last night. They shot better from 3 than the Raptors shot all around from field goal range, and they were taking a lot of shots in transition and in close to the basket, and they still shot better percentage from the 3-point line than the Raptors did completely on their field goal percentage for the whole game. That's crazy. I mean, that's a testament to the roster build of the Bucks, which has some core veterans that have been doing this a long time, named Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez, that absolutely killed us with threes. No, Scott did a fantastic job tying up Giannis Antetokounmpo. He got that assignment last night. He took it to heart, and he did a really, really good job. In some ways, Scotty, that's what I'm talking about. Scotty's taken on the superstar versus of the night, and he did very, very well against him. In fact, he outplayed Giannis last night. On the down low, we may not won the war, but we won the battle between Barnes and Antetokounmpo. Even if he got that triple-double, I don't care. He stopped Giannis from going off and scoring like crazy. We at least got that checked off in the game last night. Giannis only had 11 points, and he was stopped by Scott. Scott blocked him.
Scott stole from him. Scott played him one-on-one, excellent for the whole entire night. That's hard to do. That is hard to do. And then, you got to worry about Dame Lillard. You got to worry about the three-point shooting of the rest of the cast, and that's where we got screwed up. We could tie up Giannis with Scotty. He could do a fantastic job. But then the teammates are getting their open threes, and nobody's going out there and guarding them. And they're bombing, and they're hitting them. Brook Lopez, you big dummy-looking caveman, Geico caveman-looking motherfucker, bombing your threes like crazy. Wow. And then Bobby Portis, too. Like, that's a luxury that your 4 and your 5 are both really good three-point shooters. And then you add in our former friend, our former player, Gary Trent Jr. bombing in. And you got even like different little rookies chiming in. Everybody's hitting threes for the other side in different places. And the Raptors' best three-point shooter, Grady Dick, can't hit nothing. And none of the other guys are actually attempting to shoot threes hardly at all otherwise. RJ, Jonathan, they get a couple threes late in the game to kind of like get our number up a little bit. But, man, it was pathetic. It's like Scott said in the post-game interview, at halftime, we had like 1 or 2 threes made, and they had like 13. It was crazy. Yeah, they made 22 of 44 three-point attempts, and we made 9 of 35. And we had 4 at halftime, guys. We actually had 4 at halftime. So we only made 5 more later in the game. That's just not going to keep up. You can't keep up with the Joneses when in that kind of a fight. In some ways, that's part of the problem with the NBA league that it is that the three-pointer is absolutely essential to win in the league right now. And in some ways, teams that can't build with three-point shooting around them, they're in trouble, like us. And that's something we're going to have to rectify. I'll say this. 2 things killed us. The three-point shot and also being small compared to the Milwaukee Bucks. That's why I don't like some of these smaller lineups he's putting out there. If you're going to play Jamal Shed, Darko, don't play Bruce Brown next to him. No, that's way too small on the lineup. Why wouldn't you go in with the small, like, quick guard lineup like that against a team like the Bucks, who are very, like, centric around Giannis, Bobby Portis, and Brook Lopez? And, in some ways, yeah, I get it. You got to put somebody on Lillard to chase him around. But a lot of the power from that team is coming from up front. Why wouldn't you play Boucher? Why wouldn't you play Jonathan Mobo in the rotation instead of Bruce Brown? I was like, why the fuck is Bruce Brown out there? Wasting our time, making shitty plays, turning the ball over, not making shots, running around doing cardio for 17 minutes with 3 points only. Why the fuck would we have him out there? You're trying to trade him? He doesn't look good in that situation. In some ways, it's like, what a waste of having him out there. I would have been happy with almost anybody else on the bench short of Garrett Temple to come out there and play instead of him. Even Bruno Fernando on his last night as a Raptor. I would have enjoyed seeing him get the minutes, some of the 17 minutes that Bruce Brown got yesterday. Because it's like, what the fuck is his point of being out there? If he's a guy his size, he's not doing anything defensively to help us, and he's not making any shots. What the fuck is he out there for? Is what I'm asking Darko this morning. I think that Darko did a very poor job of rotating the rotations last night. The starters started the game very, very well, kept the pressure and the even, like the 0-0, as he said, the fight. Okay, that the word fight was used a lot in the post-game interviews by everybody, Scotty, RJ, and Darko. And the fight was good when the starters were out there until we did our first substitution. And the big thing I had the error of that was he took all 3 barbecue out at once. If we're lucky enough to have all 3 barbecue available and healthy, you should have a barbecue out there at every time of the court. There should never be a period of time in the game, Darko, where there isn't either Scotty, RJ, or Emmanuel on the court at any time, because there's a certain level of confidence and a certain level of adeptness to score and get a basket at any time in any of those 3 individuals. So you have 3 of them. I made a rule earlier this year when Emmanuel was out that you should always play either Scotty or RJ on the court, and you should have one of them on the court at all times. Well, what happened when you took the whole barbecue out and you put in a lineup of Grady Dick and Bruce Brown and Jamal Shed and Kelly Olynyk? It's like, what happened? The game fell apart, and Milwaukee jumped all over us and built a double-digit lead and didn't look back after that. That's what I'm saying. In some ways, you've got to be cautious about this. You need to balance your starters with your bench. And in some ways, the idea of having Goshai Abaji as the starting forward on the team instead of Grady Dick, is a smart one because you add really good defensive presence right from the start, take some of the load off of the very, very important offensive players of Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett as far as what they have to do defensively right from the start. Because when you have Grady starting, these guys got to do a lot of extra more coverage to help with maybe some of the weaknesses Grady presents defensively as a player. So and then it works real well because you got Grady coming in off the bench with the bench guys, and maybe some of the matchups are easier to score against bench caliber players from the opponent. I mean, I just look at it that way. I really do. I know you got to play Bruce because he's a trade target, he's a trade person, and we got to showcase him a bit. But man, that doesn't sell him. The last 2 games he's played have not sold him very well to the rest of the league. In some ways, he sucks. And I'm like, dude, the dude's supposed to be fully healed. We waited an extra 3 months for him to get healed, and he looks worse than he did last season, honestly, right now. And he said he was playing on 1 knee last year. Well, you're playing on 2 knees, and you suck. Maybe you should play with no knees, Bruce Brown. And then all of a sudden you'll play better. Or all of a sudden, I don't get it, man. He's such a waste. He's really not annoying me. Like, it's been a roller coaster with him. Because it's like, all right, I don't understand why we got this guy in the beginning. And then, okay, he's a team guy. He's very happy to be a Raptor. He's going along with whatever we say, and he's doing his part as a professional. All right, I like him. Oh, he got people cowboy boots. Okay. He's actually showing up for team events and being a part of the team and really matters to him. Okay, this is all good. But the thing is, man, at a certain point, especially with the size of your salary, you've got to contribute to the team on the court, Bruce Brown. You got to contribute on the court. I don't give a shit if you can wear cowboy hats on the bench. I don't give a shit if you're going to bring them some fancy cowboy boots. No, I give a shit whether you're going to help us win as a Raptors team. And you're not going to help us. I can tell. In some ways, I'm worried about you being a double agent. I was joking about it in the chat last night. I was like, is Bruce Brown some sort of double agent to fuck up the Raptors from the inside? Because, man, this guy, like, immediately when he came out and got in the game, he turned the ball over immediately. And then all kinds of things started unwinding and unraveling on the court. Darko, you can't play people that are going to make us lose our composure. You can't play people that aren't going to play to a certain standard of excellence that they're going to cause our whole team to unravel for the whole entire game. And then boom, all of a sudden we're down by 20 and we're losing very badly for the rest of the game. You can't do that. And so far, I don't think that Bruce has shown an ability to hold it together, that you can play him safely right now. I mean, I would worry about the rookies ahead of him most of the time, but no, I have much more confidence that Jacoby Walter, Jamal Shed are going to contribute and do things to help the Raptors in a more concrete way than Bruce Brown right now. I mean, what is that? Seriously, how long has Bruce been in this league? How many championships? He won a championship with Denver. Okay, well, where is the acumen? Where is the veteran presence? Where is the know-how? Where is the quality play, Bruce Brown? Because all I see is a man with formerly with a gimpy knee running around doing cardio on the court and wasting all of our time. Wasting all our time. Wasting our time, Bruce Brown. So we put you out there and we're undersized because of you, and you don't give us any offense. Like, what the fuck? Why would we play you? Why wouldn't we play Chris Boucher? Why wouldn't we play Chris Boucher? You know, Darko, we're in a 3-point shootout game with the Milwaukee Bucks. Why aren't we focusing on 3-point shooters and getting those guys going and having our 3-point shooters be more a focal point in helping us, or just making up some plays for Grady? Get Jacoby Walter in there earlier and like before Bruce, because he's shown that he's a very commendable 3-point shooter. In fact, some people in the chat last night were saying that they feel like Jacoby Walter is already more dependable than Grady Dick as a scorer. And I won't argue with that. In some ways, that's true. Jacoby is a very solid person as far as getting his points. But yeah, why wouldn't you play either Chris Boucher or Jonathan Mobo in the minutes, the 17 minutes eaten up by Bruce Brown, for just to have a little bit more size out there, a little bit more fight in the rebounds? We did lose the rebounding battle. I did point out that was probably going to be one of the most important battles in the game last night. It was one of the most important parts of the game. Rebounding always is. It's just it's like you need air to breathe to be alive. Well, you need rebounds to win basketball. And well, in some ways, playing a small lineup in the middle of the game, small rotation off the bench, really didn't help anything. Even Kelly Olynyk, who's gravity challenged, He's not going to get up there and guard people high at the rim. He's very much a on the floor scraper kind of defender, and he can get beat by long arms like Giannis is. And that's why, in some ways, you need the extra power forward or four like Chris Boucher or Jonathan Mobo out there kind of helping him with the length and the height of getting rebounds. If you just have Kelly out there as your big guy, your biggest guy, and then you have Bruce Brown as your power forward, you saw what that looked like when he was guarding Bobby Portis. It looked ridiculous. It looked like a cartoon. So what if this guy has a reputation for being able to guard power forwards? Why the fuck do we need to play him at that position and do that? Like, seriously, it's not a novelty. It's not like it's cute or something. It's a disadvantage that we play into if we decide we're going to slot Bruce Brown defensively at the 4. That's ridiculous, Darko. It's one of the stupidest things. Why would you play Bruce Brown on Bobby Portis? I don't care if he has a reputation from before. He's still going to give up like 4 or 5 inches to the guy he's defending, and it's going to not look good. It's not going to look good. I don't think this reputation. I think this reputation is a sham, honestly. Bruce Brown's so good. He's such a good defensive player. He can guard power forwards at 6'5". That's bullshit. That is bullshit. That's bullshit. I don't care how strong he is and holding guys and stuff like that. You can't make up the height up here above his head where guys could just go up over him. So why are we playing Bruce Brown? He's useless to us. We have so many good guards, young guards that we can bring up and put more time and development in. Grady Dick, Jacoby Walter, Jamal Shed, Jamison Battle. Bruce Brown's a waste of time at this point. I'll go on a rant about Bruce Brown this morning because in some ways I'm pissed about that. And that's where Darko made his biggest mistake, was investing so much time in Bruce Brown last night and not playing somebody like Chris Boucher. Because Chris Boucher, you try and get some threes up. He'll help with rebounding, and he'll also help with energy and fight. As y'all put it after the game, we just didn't have enough fight. RJ desponded. So he's like, yeah, this is not good enough. This is unacceptable. This is not good enough. We have to get better. This is no good. Darko's saying we have to fight their fight, and we have to bring a fight every night. And we didn't have a fight last night. We didn't have a fight. We did in the beginning. Darko said in the beginning, I really liked the way we played in the beginning. We were really matching them toe-to-toe, but things unraveled when he brought his rotation from the bench coming in. It really has been the last 2 games the same thing. We started the game pretty good. We're competing. We're playing very good on defense. We're holding them off from scoring easily. They're having a really hard time getting into their game, but we are too. We're having struggles with our offense, although usually we get a basket off Jakob first to open the game, some sort of dump off to Yak, and he does a push shot, and we make our first 2 points. And then, we battle back and forth. This crazy thing about the first quarter last night was the Raptors killed it on transition game last night in the first quarter. We saw a dunk by Scotty, a beautiful windmill. We saw a lot of transition points for the Raptors in the first quarter. And it was really awesome. But we were still losing by like almost 10 at the end of the first quarter. Why? Because of 3s versus 2s. Because they were making 3-point shots. Meanwhile, we were running it back and making layups. And, math. Hello, 3, 2, which one's more? 3. I mean, that's part of it right there. 9 3-pointers in the first quarter for the Bucks. And that's 3 9s, 9 3 extra points more than us. And that's pretty much the difference at the beginning of at the end of the first quarter. So, that it's all, some of it's simple math. Some of it's just basic ideas. Once again, as Darko said, we're playing against one of the top 4 NBA, top 4 basketball players in the world, Giannis Antetokounmpo. We got to remember that. And we're not playing against Giannis, young Giannis. We're playing against Giannis in his prime. And we're playing against Dame Lillard, a veteran, a very knowledgeable guy, very, very, very smart player. These are things we have to remember, Raptors fans. We're on the escalator of a rebuild. And these are guys that have gone up to the top floor already on the escalator and understand winning basketball and how to win. And not only that, these guys have a whole complement of players around them on the team that really enhance Giannis at some point. Milwaukee's been fine-tuning their roster around Giannis for how long now? Almost 10 years. And, they've kept the ones that really work with him, like Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis. But they've shuffled different people in and out otherwise. And that's why they're where they're at. They've fine-tuned it. And they are a good team. They are a good team. They have some of the best players in the world on their team. And we have to remember that. This was never Darko versus Doc. No, it wasn't. This was always Scotty versus Giannis. And well, Scotty won the battle individually, but his team did not beat the battle of the Bucks. And that's too bad. All right, let me see what y'all are saying in the chat. We got all the regular stuff on the channel. I did 25 minutes of intro. I wanted to go over a lot of the finer points about how I see the game last night. And I think I did just now. Yeah. Trevor J saying, appreciate those who love you, help those who need you, forgive those who hurt you, and forgive those who leave you. Wow. Wow. And wow. And wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's not good to carry hate in your heart. If you can, let go of any kind of grievances or things against people from your past, that's better. That's always better. Somebody quoted something recently and they said, if you hate someone, well, then they've won. Yeah, you shouldn't hate anybody. It's not good to hate people. You let go of people and you let them out of your life, sure. But you don't hold grudges. You don't hold on to them. In fact, I've seen another quote that says, yeah, just because we don't kick it anymore, just because I'm not cool with you anymore and we don't talk or we don't interact anymore, doesn't mean I wish ill will towards you. Doesn't mean that I wish your life to fall apart. It just means I don't talk to you anymore. And you know what? I hope you have a good life still, even if I'm not involved in it. That's the way you should look at it, really, seriously. People departed from this channel. I don't wish any of them ill will. I want them to have good lives. It's just I don't want to deal with them anymore. That's just how it is right there. That's right. Trevor's saying, why we still have 3-pointers, 3 points a game. Explain to me why he's still here. Please, somebody get him off this team. Yeah, Trevor was with me on this in the chat last night when I was dissecting Bruce Brown with it. I was just angry because I saw him wasting our time. I saw him running cardio out there. Trevor wants to know why he only got 3 points in 17 minutes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why he's out there running cardio, getting millions of dollars just to run cardio. Man, you could go run around the track down at Riverdale Park, and you could do just as much as what Bruce was doing last night down there. Yeah, his line is this: 17 minutes, 1 of 3. So he only took 3 shots. He missed the only 3 he took. He made a free throw, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, a -8 with 3 points in 17 minutes. Yeah, and how much money does this guy make a year right now? And how much has he actually helped the Raptors since we traded to get him for Siakam? Hardly at all. He's been hurt almost the whole entire time. And it's just been kind of promises and this and this. And I want to do this to help the team. Bruce, you got to come out and mess some shit up. I mean, listen, look at Emmanuel. Emmanuel came back in his first game and helped us win a game and was top notch and showed something. But in the last couple of games, Emmanuel has not done as well. In some ways, we're not mad at Emmanuel. You haven't come back and done jack shit in a big game yet. You need to come out and get like 20 points in a game, Bruce, if you want to be in good standing with Raptors fans. Seriously. Because right now, I just feel like you've wasted our time for almost a year now. Seriously. That's what it's going to take. You need to come out there and have a gangbusters game where you absolutely kill it. We don't even need to win. You just need to show that you individually can contribute on a certain level. And I haven't seen it yet. I mean, seriously, how often do I go over a bit player's box score before the stars of the game in a reaction? Not very often. But I just did because of Bruce Brown right there. That's right. Let's keep going. Naco the Nacho is here. Hoo-wee, hoo-wee, hoo-wee. All right, what a performance from Scotty and RJ. Scotty holding Giannis to 7 turnovers and 13 points. Loved RJ scoring. Everything else was bad. Okay, sheep. Bad. All right, Gerald. Good morning to you, sir. Good. Always happy to see my good friend Gerald in the morning. My number 1 star of the game is RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett was electric and coming back from his illness. He started kind of rough. He didn't make his first few shots and he looked a little off, but by the end of the game, he really found his groove and he was making some very difficult shots around the basket over long arms of the Bucks defenders. But RJ's just being RJ. He's a bucket. As they said on the broadcast, that RJ's just a bucket. He just is. 32 minutes for RJ, 11 of 18 from the field. That's the kind of shooting that Knicks fans wish they had when they still had him, is like that kind of shooting. I mean, you can't get mad at RJ for making 11 of 18 shots. That's why he's the star of the game, in my opinion. 2 of 5 from 3. He hit a couple threes later in the game. And it's too bad he couldn't hit him earlier. And that was tough because like all the Bucks threes are going in, just like with the Magic on Friday night. and none of the Raptors threes are going in. That's really deflating, and that's tough. In some ways, the battle, the race with 3-pointers is so crucial in some ways. And the Raptors are always on the other side of not being there. So we have to win in the paint and grittiness and getting more shot attempts and making up for it by making more 2-pointers than their threes that they make. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough game to win that way. And in some ways, we really do need to think about the philosophy of our team changing in fundamental ways to get to a point where we can compete with the 3-point shooting league that the NBA is. Because there are huge problems right now with this. And in some ways, I don't know if it's the way you cultivate the play system so that you get easier open threes, or you just get better personnel on your team over time that is more capable to hit open threes. I feel like we've improved in this area since the last couple years. We've not been a good 3-point shooting team for a while. And I think we've gotten better with the additions of people like Grady Dick and Jamison Battle and even Jacoby Walter on the down low. But still, we have a long way to go to be a good 3-point NBA team. And that's just been a big problem. RJ's free throw struggles appeared again last night, and they can be very frustrating. The Raptors as a whole at the 3-point line shot 62% and missed 8 free throws out of 21. That's really frustrating, really, really frustrating. But all of them were a little bit to blame, especially RJ, 1 of 4 at the free throw line. 9 rebounds for RJ, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 turnover. So a 5-to-1 assist to turnover ratio for Star J, the point guard. Not bad at all. Minus 19 with 25 points in 32 minutes. I think one of the key things to point out about RJ Barrett is his synergy with Scotty is immaculate. There's a lot of plays where they play off each other. And one of the things that struck me in the game last night is with RJ, Emmanuel, and Scotty out there, full barbecue, is Scotty in some ways has a lot of like pressure taken off of him, and he can be even more of a superstar. You have that top draft pick talent like RJ Barrett out there with that top draft pick talent, Scotty, rub off on each other. And there's going to be some extra special stuff because the talent supersedes and adds to the talent. And RJ's talent adds to Scotty's talent. Scotty's talent adds to RJ's talent. And you see amazing, beautiful plays. You see an astute Scotty Barnes take a lob from Jakob, which was awkward and a little missed time, but Scotty made it work by pausing and patient and jamming it through and making sure it went through either way. He did not dictate the pass. Jakob did. It wasn't that good, but Scotty took care of it in a way that it was a complete transaction that made it through the basket. There's certain things with RJ and Scotty that we're seeing connection with and fast break transition systems where they're playing perfect off each other, whether one's a distraction for the other and they get the basket, or they're looking up the court for each other and they're getting that ball up to each other in easy ways. So they're getting quick transitional baskets. And that's fantastic. The synergy between Barrett and Barnes is palpable and real. It is real. And that's why I say people that don't like the Barnes-Barrett combo, you're wrong. In fact, that may be the most natural, best talent synergy on our team right now between RJ and Scotty. And it's awesome. You can see it on the court. If you're paying real close attention, you can see how they're checking in with each other and playing off each other. And it's a very, very beautiful thing. That's what I'm saying. My second star of the game is Scotty Barnes. 32 minutes for Scotty also. 10 of 18 from the field. He missed all 4 of his 3-point attempts. Yeah, he had that 1 3. There were 2 3-point attempts that were just really ridiculous right in a row that annoyed the hell out of me. The first one was Manuel coming in transition at the top of the key, and Jackson came up behind him and stuffed him. And he wasn't looking. First of all, teammates call out to IQ that a defender's coming to block him so he doesn't make a really bad cringe shot that gets blocked right away by a defender who's behind him. So, yeah, rest of the team, you got to tell IQ he's got footsteps behind him. And then second, maybe Emmanuel, don't take a transition 3 like that with maybe footsteps coming up behind you, because that looked cringe as hell. And that honestly should have been a basket. And in some ways, you should have just dribbled it up into the lane and laid it up around the one defender between you and the basket instead of pulling up and taking a transition 3. And then you have on the next play, Scotty coming up and taking a lazy transition 3 with no contact on him and missing it. I hated both those threes. I hated them. In some ways, we needed to shoot more threes, but not like that, gentlemen. Not like that. Scotty was 1 for 2 at the free throw line. Only 2 rebounds for Scott, which is surprising. 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 5 turnovers. So a 5-to-5 assist to turnover ratio. No good. 1 for 1, Scott. Scotty's going to have a problem with turnovers in this transitionary period where he is becoming more the man and carrying us and doing this superstar versus superstar stuff I'm talking about. His turnovers are going to get bad for a little while because he is being demanded of in a new role, in a new way on the court, and this is just natural. There will be time where he turns them down, though, where he really turns up and plays very ethical, smart, clean basketball on given nights where he's absolutely perfect. But right now, there's a learning curve, and the turnovers are going to come naturally. 21 points for Scotty in 32 minutes, a minus 24, one of the higher plus, one of the lower plus minuses as far as very bad minus. And I don't even blame those guys for that. I mean, I don't know. In some ways, they admitted it afterwards that they did not play as hard or try as hard as they should have. And there's accountability. Scotty's saying it, and that, we're holding people accountable. We're holding ourselves accountable. We're talking about it, and we're talking to other people, and we're holding them accountable, and they're taking accountability. So it's not like these Raptors are just like, we'll show up, we'll make millions of dollars, we'll get our butt kicked by 20 to 30 points, and everybody's happy. No, 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 no. These guys are not happy about this. They hold a higher standard for themselves, and accountability is being taken in closed doors, behind the scenes, in practice, in the video room. And we need to understand that. Everything's a work in progress. Sometimes the first draft of a novel by Stephen King sucks. And he has to rip it up and start over a bit. But there's little parts that he keeps every single time. And this is partly what the rebuilding team in the NBA is like, too. This is a rough draft, and we're figuring out some things. And some things are real nice, like a Barrett to Barnes synergy. And some things are not so nice, and they need to be taken out and rewritten. So, that's just how it is. My third star of the game in the game last night is just the solid Pirtle. Pirtle is just going to do what Pirtle does, and that's give us good defense and rebounds. 6 for 9 from the field for Jakob. He missed his only free throw. 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover. A minus 30, the worst plus minus on the team. 12 points in 31 minutes. It's just, seriously, this is a guy who's standing on the line as the biggest guy on the court for us against guys like Portis and Lopez, and just in there battling. I mean, we don't get close to them in the rebounding battle without Jakob being out there. So I like to give him some credit and shine whenever I can, when he's able to, do pretty good. So I'll give Jakob the third star. Those are my 3 stars. I have honorable mentions, but we'll go over them in a little bit. The honorable mention is actually just Jacoby Walter. Off the bench, 3 of 5, 2 of 3 from 3. He hit those threes late. And I'm kind of like, yeah, play him instead of Bruce Brown early. And maybe we get some of those threes in the first half, and the game isn't such a blowout, is what I'm saying. He missed his only free throw, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, a +3 with 8 points in 11 minutes. Jacoby Walter should have played more last night. He should have had 20 minutes on the court, and he should have ate into Bruce Brown's minutes a little bit. That's my opinion. There you go. There's my stars of the game. Honorable mention for Jacoby. Trevor saying Scotty was Giannis' defensive stopper. He slowed him down from scoring 30 points as normal. Yeah, that's totally true. That is totally true. That's the thing. If you take a Baji out of the starting lineup, who's going to take the toughest assignment on this side? Well, Scotty is. And Scotty always wanted that. Scotty's been doing that. Scotty says, OG, bye. You're on New York now. Well, who's going to be OG? Who's going to do some of that stuff? Oshai? Sure. But Scotty, too. And Scotty showed that he is a top-level defender, and the way he kind of corralled Giannis last night. I mean, let's look at Giannis' stat line real quick, because he did get a triple-double. And some people that did a parlay were very happy about that. But 5 of 8, he limited it's not even how well Giannis shot or the other stuff he did. He limited his shot attempts. In some ways, they corralled him to the point where he wasn't able to take a lot of shots. And that's a success. He only took 8 shots. Missed his only 3, 1 of 2 at the free throw line, 12 rebounds, 13 assists, 7 turnovers, plus 27 with 11 points in 29 minutes. Yeah, Giannis was not the one who killed us. His teammates did. And in some ways, that speaks more to our cast around Scott not doing their part to cover the three-point shooters on the perimeter in the right way and get out there. Scotty said in practice, they practice this every single day. closeouts on threes every single day. So why aren't we doing it, Raptors? If this is a key of emphasis in practices recently, why are we being so unsuccessful at closing out and defending threes right now? Well, we're going to have a good test against the New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden tomorrow night. And well, maybe you guys can show some success in learning in this department by having a better outcome of guarding the perimeter and three-pointers and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, we negated Giannis. Scotty blocked out Giannis, but Giannis got those 13 assists and got his teammates involved, especially around the three-point line. And that's a huge key to their victory right there. Is Giannis playing? He couldn't do it himself, so he let his teammates do it for him. And that's how it happened right there. Yeah. Mo's here. Good morning to super fan Monique Lawrence. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Last night was unacceptable. A crowd was ass for a Monday as usual. Credit RJ and Scotty, though. Bye-bye, Bruno. Schedule ain't easy. Glad we are healthier finally. Raptors forever. There you go. The important stuff. Monique put it in there as far as Raptors forever. Yes, that's very important. All right, let me break this down. It's like, you think it's unacceptable. I agree with you. But in some ways, I also understand it's not that I accept this. It's just that I understand with an astute knowledge that this is just part of the project. That this is like, some people can just say, this is unacceptable and be mad and get all bent out of shape about it. But if you have the context of why it happened and understand it and the path to how we fix it, you can understand why in some ways it's like, what's unacceptable, Mo? I'll say this. The effort by the Raptors overall in the game was unacceptable. That's what's unacceptable. That in some ways the Raptors did not put the effort and fight into the game to the level to be able to compete with a top team in the NBA like the Milwaukee Bucks. And that is unacceptable right there. That's what's unacceptable right there. That's right. The crowd was ass. Yes, this is a normal thing at Scotiabank Arena on a Monday night after a weekend. And not only that, we have to remember that yesterday is a particular kind of Monday. It's the first Monday back to work after a holiday season. And in some ways, some people have called that Monday one of the most depressing days of the year because you're coming from your family and enjoying time off and having the best food and just having good, jolly times to the drudgery of going back to work. And, you got to think about some of the fans that went to the game last night. They went back to work for the first time in like 2 or 3 weeks. They may have been a little tired and they were coming in and, it's always tough. There's certain days of the week where it's hard to get a good Scotiabank Arena crowd with the fans. And I'm sorry I couldn't go to the game last night. I would have helped, but I'm not going to games all the time like I have in the past. Because in some ways, the energy from the crowd can really help the energy of the team. We have to remember this. If the Scotiabank crowd comes live and they are really passionate and they're showing energy and giving energy, they will buoy the team better into energy to defend better and do better. In fact, I'm pissed at the crowd. In some ways, I'll say the crowd was unacceptable just as much as the game and the outcome was unacceptable. The crowd was unacceptable because they didn't come down there and cheer loud and get loud and cheer defense. In some ways, I'm telling y'all, you need to listen to me if you're a Raptors fan and you actually go to the games and you're in the arena ever. We can feed them energy on defense to play better defense. We can. I did it. I proved it myself on New Year's Day when I went down there for the Brooklyn game and we beat them because we had better defensive energy. And, well, every single time the other team had the ball, I was yelling defense and trying to get the crowd hyped up. And by the end of the game, I got them loud and got them going. And that's the thing. The Raptors fans got to stop making their cheering contingent on whether the Raptors are playing well. Y'all need to be just stubbornly, adoringly passionate about your team with no particular rules. Oh, if they're losing, I'll shut up and I'll just sit and watch like it's a movie. It's a spectator sport if they're behind. Yeah, if they get behind, you're never going to help them. You're never going to show up and get loud for them. So I say just do it no matter what. Just do it no matter what. We want to be a badass fan nation. We want to be a reputation in this league. Well, let's be crazy. And let's just cheer for them no matter what, even if we're down by 30, even if we have no chance in hell of beating a team on a certain night. Let's just be crazy and let's just do it. Because you know what? I don't want to feel guilty as a fan member who was in the crowd on a certain night that I didn't give it my all on the court like the player didn't on the court because I didn't come down there and use my voice to add energy in the arena. You don't want that guilt. Some of these players, they deal with this guilt all the time on losing streaks. It's like, what could I have done different? What could I have done different? You never have that, Raptors fans, when you go to the game? You never have that after the game? Damn, if I had just been louder in the third quarter to help them, maybe we would have stopped them. Yeah, maybe y'all should think about the guilt that you might have from going to the game and sitting on your ass and being quiet as a mouse. Yeah, maybe you should think about that guilt and how you did not show up as the sixth man to help the 5 men on the court that wear the Raptors jersey that you love so much. And you didn't help them. If you went to that game last night and you did not cheer for them a single bit the whole entire game because they were losing the whole game, shame on you. That's what I say. Shame on you. Shame on you. And I'm telling y'all, we need to be the leaders, the Raptor freaks. We need to be the ones that go down there and get that crowd going and not give a shit if we look like fools and not give a shit if the team's down by 20 and everybody's like, why are you cheering, bro? You're a loser. No, motherfucker, you're a loser because you sit there on your hands and you're shutting up when they need you the most. Yeah, that's what I got to say about it. That's what I got to say to the fans right now. You have a part to do. And if you don't come in there and do it, well, you ain't helping the team get out of the mud, is what I'll say right there. That's right. Yeah. Credit Scotty and RJ. I love the chemistry between them right now, Mo. It's so fun. So fun. I love seeing Scott get a breakaway windmill dunk. Woo! Stole the ball from Giannis, ran down there, even did a little look back at him, and then did a dunk with a windmill. Not a special, not a regular dunk, a specialty dunk. So nice. So nice. So good. Yeah, I'm sad for Bruno Fernando. You know, in some ways, this league is tough. It's a business. And in some ways, you just aren't contributing to our team in enough a way. And, you know, you had your chances. It's just in some ways, well, maybe you have the limitations of what you're able to do as a person on a basketball court. And it's just, well, we got to this point, unfortunately. But yeah, appreciate you, Angolan, Giant, Bruno Fernando, even if, well, this is where the road ends with us at this point. Thank you for being here for a while with us. And thank you for adding to the culture of the team also. That's right. You really were. That's right. All right, let's keep going. Nameless saying, can we all just be thankful that Barbecue played a full game together for the first time in which feels like forever and nobody got injured? This is a massive milestone. Now we can build some traction. I don't know if traction is the right word to use in this, Paisano. The traction, no, build some traction. We don't need nobody in traction. No, we don't. I get what you're saying. Some momentum. We could build some momentum. Yeah, you know what? This is great. I like this. You wake up every morning, like we say, and just be grateful to be alive. Well, this is counting your blessings. It's like, well, all right, well, we had them back and nobody got hurt. And yay. You know, I'm totally with Nameless on this. Let's count our simple blessings and what he's saying here. I'm totally with him on this. Yeah. Kareem is here. Good to see our dunk champ. Kareem Thomas is back in the Raptor Freak chat to talk about stuff with the Raptors today on this Raptors reaction pod. And yeah, we're going to be a little bit, maybe there'll be a little bit of a Lexathon today. I see that you guys filled it up a bit here. Darko and the Raptors showed their hand last night. At the beginning of the year, we showed fight. This is true. We had pride. There was dignity. But yesterday, nobody gave a fuck. You know, it's not as simple as that. You can't just say that. They gave a fuck. It's just that the fight and the energy didn't match what they needed. In some ways, I don't know. Maybe, you know, there's, all right, I'm going to say this. You know, the Raptors came into this season with a lot of built up stuff from the practicing and the extra time in the summer. And they absolutely competed against high level teams at the beginning of the year in very close games and just barely didn't have enough know-how and knowledge to close a lot of those games and win. Now, they've been through a lot of time since then. It's wearing the season. And there, you know, that there's a couple of losing streaks we've had this season that have been really difficult mentally and tough. In some ways, you know, what is this, Kareem? You're going to get up and run into a wall every morning. Well, you could do it the first couple of days with a lot of vigor and, ooh, I'm going to run in this wall. And you bam into it. Yeah, that was fun. I'm all right. But after about 20, 30 days of running into that wall, maybe you're not running into that wall so vigorously with such energy. That's just part of it, is the long schedule, the ups and downs, the downs of mentally losing a lot of games can wear on you to make it harder for you to get this gumption up. Does this make sense? And in some ways, this is part of it. It's not that they're jaded. It's not that they've given up. It's just they're tired. And in some ways, this is a grind and that they're beaten down mentally and in some ways physically also. That this is all contributing to the phenomena that we're seeing right now. That, they were fresh and they were together and they had spirit and moxie a little bit more in November. But now in January at this point, they've seen things and they've gone through stuff. And the great and most important thing is they stay together and they're still on task and they understand the plan. But also at the same time, we have to understand this team and this unit is not savvy and experienced in winning yet. And they have to learn that learning curve. And that is going to take a while and it's going to be ugly and it's going to look like shit like last night, even if they're healthy. And you say, oh, there's no excuses in the world. That doesn't mean that our team, healthy and completely talented, is enough to beat a team that has been established and knowing how to play off each other and has been in a core for like 6 years. That's the thing. We got to think about Milwaukee and their main players. They've all been together for like 5 years each. Bobby Portis, Brooke Lopez, Pat Connaughton, Giannis and DeCompto, Chris Middleton. These guys have all played on a team together for a long time. And there's a lot of familiarity. Meanwhile, our guys, some of them, they have not barely played with each other at all. And we have to remember this kind of stuff, seriously, in this rebuild. We got to give it time as far as we get more time and maybe other teams break up and they're more new with each other over time. And we are the team that has been together longer at a certain point. So it's going to be a process and it's not going to be quick. It's going to take some time. Nako's saying if Bruno got waived, I think we're getting someone new soon. Maybe Battle gets signed to a full contract. That could possibly be it. I think it's more likely this is what's going to happen, Nako. They're going to cycle different guys through the G League and on 10-day contracts like they did last year. They're going to give different guys tryouts on the big league, and they're going to come out and try some stuff. Now, near the end of the season, it could very well be they convert Jameis and Battle for various reasons. They may not, though, because we're not in the playoffs, and there's no reason to convert him other than if we're in the playoffs and we want to use him in the postseason. So I could see it a couple different ways. I mean, the possibility of converting Jamison Battle just so we can play him more games in the regular season is there, but it's not totally likely because they may be very happy to just let him use the rest of the G League season. And then, there may be a period of time where we don't see Battle on the Raptors at all for like 2 or 3 months right now. And then he collects all of his remaining games with the Raptors near the end of the season after the G League season's over, so that he can continue to play right through. There's a lot of different ways they can handle this, but I will tell you for sure, the Raptors are not going to get this next person and they're going to be permanently on this team. No, they're not. They're going to get a 10-day contract on somebody from the G League. They're going to give them a tryout and they're going to see how well they can do. Now, whether they get a lot of time and actually get a good shot to try out and make the team, that's not guaranteed either. We saw them give a 10-day contract to Justice Winslow last year, and he didn't get in a single minute on the court, even though he got that 10-day contract. So we got to temper our expectations with what can happen with this open roster spot and the flexibility that it allows, because it could be all over the place. And don't expect some huge acquisition to come in and just save us. That's not what's going on here. We're trying out people to see who could possibly be a part of the future. Now, this is the thing I would say. We just lost a big on our roster. In some ways, I really do want more big guys on our team because I think on the download, one of our huge problems this year is we're undersized overall, that we really are undersized. With Jakob's absolutely essential. And when Scotty's our second biggest player on our team, this is a problem. So I would like to fill in with more big guys. Eugene Omoruyi would be great. If we're going to do a first 10-day contract for somebody, let's give it to Eugene and let him come up. Even though he's undersized, he plays bigger than his size, and he would help with rebounds and some scrappiness and toughness. So, it'll be something like that. We'll have to see. It could be that they're cycling through different guys, not just from 905, but from around the G League that are interesting and possibilities for maybe making our team. We did this last year. Remember, we, brought in people like Jamias Ramsey, and Mohamedou got a chance to come up on the big squad, and different things like that happen like that, All right, let's see what else y'all are saying in here. Kareem saying, I didn't like that Darko had barbecue on the bench at the same time. That to me is inexcusable. He's smarter than that. I know. I didn't like that either. Yeah, I'm like, an NBA game is 48 minutes, and you have to play excellent the whole 48 minutes. Now, starting lineup can be your best starting lineup, but where's the drop-off with the bench? If there's anything I learned from Nick Nurse years is you really need to have no drop-off from bench minutes to starter minutes, and the best teams in the league don't have a drop-off in quality of play. And we really kind of need to smooth that over better. And I really do feel like if that means not starting the absolute 5 best players available on any given night, leaving one pretty good offensive player to be the 6th man who comes off the bench, that's smart. Because honestly, the last 2 games have been lost with the drop off of the bench coming in for the first time. The start of the game has been fine. We've competed with Orlando and Milwaukee fine with the starters until like maybe just 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. And then things start turning after that when the first initial reserves come in. That's the problem right there. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. In some ways, you're right. It's inexcusable. He's smarter than that. And he should be maybe spreading out RJ and Scotty and Emmanuel off of each other so that one of them's always on the court. I'm just saying. Bryce is saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Good morning to you, Bryce. Holding it down in the bluegrass state of Kentucky, stateside for the Raptor Freak family. We love you, Bryce. Hope you're having a great day so far. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Tuesday. Yesterday was the first time we witnessed the barbecue yak dick combo. We need to give them time, but I do agree with Facebook chat. Oshai should have probably started for his defensive presence. I think that's like that's part of what I would say. You know, if we're going to play a team that's big and has big rebounders and they're tough, like Milwaukee, we should start Oshai because in some ways he's going to add a little bit more strength and toughness and more defensive ability. And in some ways, Grady is a defensive liability already. I knew he would be when I scouted him last year or 2 years ago when he was before he came in. I knew his defensive stuff is the hardest part for him to make up in the whole entire league because there's just certain things that he's going to get picked apart for him on the court by other teams' offenses. And that's the thing. We have to hide him to a degree. Now, the other thing we're not saying anything about, this is true, and this is part of the reason why we're having defensive problems too, is Emmanuel needs to be hidden too. Emmanuel's not the best defender either. And when you have Emmanuel and Grady out on the court together, there's some defensive holes that we can't shore up. You know, RJ also is not exactly a top-level defender either. We know this. So when you have just Yak and Scotty as 2 good defenders in the starting lineup, and the other 3 guys are sus a little bit, that's no good. So that's why if you switch Grady out of the starting lineup, you put Oshai in there, well, you got 3 very good defenders and 2 guys that can make it up in the middle as far as Emmanuel and RJ. Now, Emmanuel could be better on defense. In some ways, he's still kind of feeling his legs under him after coming back from being injured, and he's not exactly totally top-notch right now. Now, he showed some things on offense, but there are things he's not doing exactly right on defense yet. But he can get better and learn it better. And that's why I'm glad he has teammates like Davion Mitchell around that can rub off on him and maybe possibly get him to a higher level on his defense. Because in some ways, that's the underlying thing that we're not talking about is that Quickly's defense is not helping in this situation also. There's a lot of stuff he's not doing very well on defensive end that he needs to do better with. And some of it may be the closing out on the threes right there. Yeah. Randolph saying, New Year's blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. Life's journey is meant to travel because it leads to life's purpose for each life. Take the journey with courage. I love that. I love that. You know, life is a gift granted to us by the Creator. And in some ways, it's your life to lead and have for yourself. And you make your own life. So you know what? You know, don't limit yourself. You can make your life whatever you want it to be. And you know, just understand your choices have repercussions or benefits, whatever you decide. So yeah, there you go. Thank you, Randolph, for your words of wisdom. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the other Raptor Freak families out there, for sure. Yeah, I love it. Nako saying at Kareem, agree, especially when he's playing 30-ish minutes. Grady made me sad. You know, Grady, like I said, him and Scotty are in similar places. They're in unknown places that are new, that they're not totally used to. You know, we got to think about it. It was just a year ago that Grady kind of emerged and started playing well to the point where he was getting regular rotation minutes. He was not a part of the Raptors really in the first half of the season last year in his rookie year. And it's really been like he's just got a year now of really kind of playing main minute kind of Raptors kind of stuff. And there's a learning curve. You know, he's had different learning curves. There was the time when nobody was paying attention to him and he could free range and hit a whole bunch of shots. And the secret came out on Grady. And so they start focusing on him. And so he had to adjust. And then he figured out, okay, maybe I can score more if I'm going to the basket a little bit more, some mid range mixed in with the threes. So there's constantly a learning curve for Grady. partly because attention's changing on him all the time. Some defensive systems have been very oriented to absolutely stopping him and cutting him off, and they've been successful. So we have to make adjustments and figure out how to cultivate situations where Grady can get good open shots again all the time. And we have to continue to be creative in this. And in some ways, the learning and synergy between the players will help with this. So that's part of it. Is Grady is much more of a target on his back by the other teams, and he has to adjust and figure out how to get his points in these situations still, because he's not. He's not right now. He's shooting a bad percentage, and it's harder for him to convert right now. So he has to be savvy and smart and make adjustments and understand this. It's just like with Scott. Scott's in this superstar mode now, and that's a new learning curve for him. Well, Grady's in a new kind of attention getting mode, and that is a new learning curve for him that we all need to remember and understand about that. Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. Kareem saying, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just having trouble with this team after witnessing what happened yesterday. Deep sigh. Well, it's not always going to be smooth, and some of it's going to be ugly. And it's not, like I said, Kareem, it's not like magically just because they're all healthy that they're just going to win all of a sudden. I would like that to be true, but in some ways, that's just not how it works. They have to get healthy, and now they have to start doing the work to get better together, and they will. It's just that it's not going to come very quickly. And I know we can make all these excuses and say, well, we've been waiting to win. They're healthy. They should be winning now. And a lot of the anti people, the people that hate the Raptors, the fake fans are going to come around and say, yeah, I told you this team's not good enough as it is. Bullshit. Don't listen to them either. The truth is somewhere in between. Let's just put it that way, Kareem. The truth is somewhere in between. This team is going to be good enough to compete, because it's not how it is going to be forever the way it is right now. It's going to change and evolve. And these players that are on our team, some of them will get better and stick around and be on our team, and some new players will come in and they'll add to it. And it's a work in progress. So we need to understand that. We need to understand that. And everybody's making snap judgments about, well, this team's not good enough to compete ever in the NBA. They just suck. You're wrong, because over time you'll see it, and it'll come with some transactions around it and some huge improvement from some of the key players that are already on the team. And yeah, you'll see. It's just, man, you got to be patient, Kareem. I know you want it so bad right now. I'm with you, man. He's also saying at Bryce, Oshai definitely deserves to be in the starting lineup. I would prefer Dick off the bench as he's a volume shooter. Yeah, I think it just makes sense. I'm totally behind you guys on this idea, because it'll bolster our defensive attitude in the beginning of the game, right from the bat. He can be another player that's kind of more focused on main players on the other side and shutting them down right from the start. I mean, it's great to see Scotty do it to Giannis himself last night. But in some ways, think about this. If Oshai's guarding Giannis at the beginning of the game, maybe Scotty's able to get going on offense a little bit even more smoother, because he's not putting so much energy into trying to guard Giannis. Does that make sense? And I think that also one of the problems is that the bench is just having a hard time scoring in the last few games. Well, Grady will help the bench score better. It's not that Grady's not a good enough player to start. It's just that this is in some ways in the classic conundrum, like Gary Trent Jr. Is that, like, look, you could be a starter. You're great in the starting lineup, but you know what? We may need your shooting and your 3-point shooting off the bench just to kind of bolster things and help things. Very, very nice to see a tribute to Gary last night in between the timeouts in the timeout. Just fantastic. Gary didn't really acknowledge it, but he's in game face, and in some ways, these players are getting taught that if your opposing team in their home arena honors you because you're a former player, don't acknowledge it. Don't do anything. Maybe he does a little wave, something like that. That's it. But yeah, nice to see that, because in some ways, Gary is an important part of our history and an upstanding Raptors alumni that I'll cherish and honor. I have no problem with him. And I like seeing our arena give kudos to somebody like that, especially on their first game back as an opponent. And that's what that was last night. Of course, Gary came in off the bench for the Bucks, and he was solid. This is the kind of stuff we love to see from Gary on our team when he was on our team. He was 6 for 9 last night. Very, very good shooting by Gary. 24 minutes, 3 of 5 from 3, made both his free throws, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 3 steals even. Yeah, Gary was getting some steals. And there was some talk between him and Scotty. There's a little bit of smack talking going on there. And there's one play where Gary got a transition steal, and Scotty was running back with him, and he could have maybe blocked him, but I think his friendship kind of laid off and said, all right, Gary, you just go ahead and make this layup. I'm not going to mess you up because I'm kind of like your buddy. Maybe somebody will say, oh, that's not a good way to compete. But in some ways also, it's like he doesn't want to hurt his friend. And in some ways, it's like if he had jumped with him, he probably would have fouled him and put him on the line anyway. So yeah, 3 steals for Gary, fantastic. That's the stuff that Gary just does. 1 turnover, a plus 14 with 17 points off the bench. So he's like, I'm looking at Milwaukee's bench, and this is a huge factor in why they won. I'm looking at between Bobby Portis, Gary Trent, and Ryan Rollins. There's 47 points just between 3 bench players. Meanwhile, our bench can't even score. With all 6 of the guys off the bench last night, they scored 24 points. All 6 guys, and they got 3 guys on their other side scoring 47 points. That's a problem. That's a problem right there. This is what I'm saying right there. Holy crap, man. Holy crap. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Barbecue debut, finally. Now let's get a run for several games. Yeah, we got to let them run and go, but I'm not saying they're going to win. You guys are crazy. People saying incoming 20-game win streak. You're crazy. You're crazy. I don't even know if we're going to win a whole lot for the rest of the year, but I want to see them continue to play together healthy and get more reps and understanding and synergy amongst each other. That's the most important goal right now, guys. It may not be exactly winning, because remember also, not winning means more likely a better draft pick at the end of the year. And that may be what we need seriously right now, the most in some ways. I'm starting to believe that, just because in some ways, competing right now is like, it's not, we don't really have a chance in a lot of different ways. So we just need to have respect for ourselves, come out there, play to the best of our ability, play all out, try. Yeah, there may not have been totally that last night. And then we'll have dignity, even if we don't win the game. Seriously, because it's just, we got to do that. We just have to. Fiercely said, not sure how to explain the fact that Mobo, Shed, Mitchell, Battle, Oshai, and even Grady were so competitive against top teams during Scotty and IQ's absence, but they've gone cold the last few games. I don't know. I don't know if you can really make a correlation on this. I think that in some ways there's so many moving parts involved in what you're saying, as far as so many different players and so many different reasonings. I mean, it's you can't really say it's because Emmanuel came back or anything, because Emmanuel was very helpful in the first game he came back to, distributing and getting a lot of people involved and raising their levels of play. In fact, Grady specifically played better against Brooklyn because of Emmanuel's presence. I don't know. I think that in some ways our bench is just kind of anemic right now. Maybe they're a little shell shocked. They're coming out, and maybe the pairing, the group together, is just collectively not talented enough, and they're getting ran over by the other team's bench or players that they're putting out against them at the time. I don't like some of the lineups for confidence. And some of it is like, Kelly's good and fine, but in some ways we can't rely on Kelly for certain things. I really hated that bench lineup with no barbecue out there. That team was horrible. And it really was like Kelly, Grady, Jamal, Bruce Brown, and it wasn't even Jacoby at that point. It was one other starter. I think it might have been Oshai. Yeah, that lineup is not a good enough team to be out on the court for the Raptors fully healthy. It's just not a good enough team. In some ways, I'd rather Jakob being out there instead of Kelly. And then maybe it's a little bit better, but no, there's still not barbecue out there in any kind of form. So it's like, why can't you have Emmanuel out there instead of Bruce Brown with Jamal Shed in them and do that instead? Or why not have, instead of Bruce Brown, RJ Barrett out there with them? I don't know. I'll say every time, take Bruce Brown out, put somebody else in. In some ways, we're playing these weird teams sometimes out there where we have 3 littles and like one legit big or half big like Kelly, and then like a half-ass like power forward that's like Oshai Abaji, or Jonathan Mobo when he was in the rotation, or Chris. And then we have 3 small guys. It'll be like Emmanuel, Jamal, and Bruce. And I'm like, why the fuck are we playing 3 small guys? We should never be playing 3 small guys. We have enough guys on our team of size that we should be playing a legitimate small forward. And Bruce Brown, to me, is a guard. He's not a power forward or a small forward. Fuck that shit, Darko. Fuck that shit. Don't tell me Bruce Brown's forward. He's a guard, and that dude needs to be slotted at a guard, and you should not be playing him at the 3 because he undersizes us in a way that's so detrimental to our team overall. And he does. It's not like he plays like a front court player. It's not like he's down there mixing it in and trying to get a whole bunch of rebounds and successfully getting them. No, he's playing on the perimeter. So it's like we're playing 3 point guards all of a sudden. And I'm like, I hate that. I hate that. I hated the two small point guards of Fred and Kyle back in the day, and they were awesome players, and they were very good. But I hated being undersized with 2 point guards. So now you're going to put out Jamal Shed, Davion Mitchell, and Bruce Brown as 3 of our players on one unit? No. That's not a good rotation. And that's a very, very poor decision in balancing what you need for rebounding on the court. Yeah, I'm sorry, especially if these guys aren't playing some crazy ass half court transition defense that's coughing up the ball and getting a lot of steals. No, these guys are running cardio. They're not playing more aggressive on defense. So why the fuck would you put 3 little pit bulls out there at once when they're not really doing the stuff of getting the results as far as making the other team turn the ball over when they're bringing the ball up the court? So why fucking play 3 smalls like that? Seriously, you got better than that. Seriously, Jacoby can be the 3, and you can have 2 smalls then. But you need to have 2 guys bigger than Jacoby out there at 4 and 5. Yeah, I don't get these undersized lineups that come off our bench and rotation. In some ways, that's contributing to the drop off in talent and us getting our asses kicked by the other team when the bench comes in, is what I just described right there. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Kareem's saying when the Raptors get down by 10, Darko needs to put in Davion. Off night helps the team lock in on defense and would put the finger on the dike to stop the bleeding. I think I said that quote right. That sounds really like you're walking along the edge of a cliff, about to fall in on something. You put the finger in the dike. Okay, phrasing, Kareem. Phrasing. You know, it's so weird and it's wacky. I'm going to give Kareem a dunk for saying putting the finger in the dike because, man, that has connotations right there, my guy. Come on now. What are you talking about here, man? We talking about basketball here or what? Come on now. That's crazy, man. No, I know what you mean. You're talking about Netherlands. You're talking about like the flooding. They built the land and the water, and they have dike system to keep that water out of there. Yeah, you got to put that finger in the dike so that you can plug the hole where the water's coming through. Is what he's saying. No, I agree with this. I think you're exactly right. I think Davion Mitchell is a special kind of defensive player like that. And that in some ways, if we need Chris for energy and rebounding and getting a pep in our step, well, maybe we need Davion out there to kick off a very good defensive stand because he's showing leadership in that area and putting it out there on the court. I know he would. I mean, come on, Darko. I want you to play Davion every single game. I know Jamal's the future and he's important, but I still think that he should be going with Jonathan down to the 905 and not playing so much on the Raptors level right now. I think that Davion is somebody who's necessary for our team to have a challenge to win. And in some ways, you not playing Davion Mitchell for some games has been, I know he's been a little bit under the weather or hurt, but still, man, I want to see him play. I really, really do. There were certain guys that got to play last night that I wouldn't have played, and I would have played other guys instead. And Mitchell is one of those guys I would have played. Definitely right there. Yeah. You said that quote right. I know what you mean, but you could mean something else too. Anyway, all right, let's see. Stargate saying, with all due respect, Lex, Scotty needs help. I love my Raptors team and I want them to be successful. Some players don't fit with Scotty. It's evident in my opinion, but I won't say whom. I don't want to get blasted. You think it's Emmanuel? Do you think it's Grady? I know it's not RJ. Because RJ and Scott fit real nice, real nice. In fact, they're playing off each other the best out of anybody. I want to know who this is. Stargate has kind of alluded to this in the past. He won't right out say it who it is, and because he knows it may cause a controversy. We may get into this discussion and talk about it for 45 minutes about whether this person fits with Scotty on the Raptors or not. I'd say the 2 prime suspects, and what you're saying would be either Grady Dick or Emmanuel Quickly. I don't know. The jury's out with Emmanuel and Scotty because we haven't seen enough of it. We really just haven't seen enough of it. There's been some good signs between Emmanuel and Scotty. Let's not get it twisted. I don't know. There's weird energy between Grady and Scotty to a degree. I'm not going to lie about that. There could very well be philosophical differences in how you carry yourself in life between Grady Dick and Scotty Barnes. I don't know. I don't want to speculate on that too much. But I don't know who you mean exactly. I don't know who you mean. I'm not going to blast you. In some ways, if you want to tell us, we could discuss it a little bit. But it's not going to be something where I'm going to get, mad at you or anything like that. In some ways, maybe this is something we should think through and maybe look at a little bit what you're saying. I think this is natural that you guys, when you're in rebuild, you have ideas and philosophies about who might fit together. DeJounte Murray and Trae Young, but it doesn't work. And then you have to make adjustments and change things. And that could very well be part of what is getting understood. I mean, this is what Darko's saying. This process right now is to see guys gelling with each other and how it works and making adjustments and figuring out who should be coming along with us for the long run. So this is what they're doing on the down low, what Stargate is saying. Fiercely saying, Lex, I know you see Scotty's leap, but I also see RJ as the most consistent and with the most dog in him, whether we win or lose. Well, I in some ways I don't like juxtaposing these two names against each other in any kind of way, because honestly, this is the kind of thinking that sent Tracy McGrady to Orlando with Vince Carter on his team, and they knew that they should have coexisted and stayed. There's no problem with this stuff, and in some ways, look, they are balancing off each other fine. I don't understand in this comment what you're trying to get at, Fiercey, because honestly, there are two separate individuals that are on our team and they work well together. And we're not making it an RJ versus Scotty thing. Some people have tried to make it about the leadership, who's the leader of the team, who's the true leader, and all this stuff. But we don't need to rank this. We don't need to understand this. We need to just let them play together as players on a team. You know, do people do this at Jason and Jalen in Boston all the time? Because that's that kind of energy. Why can't they just be players? They're different flavors of ice cream. They do different things on the court, and they work well together. I get a 3 scoop at Baskin Robbins. Then I'll get that BBQ scoop. I'll get that Barnes Bared and Quickly, a scoop of each in there, and they taste fine together. They taste fine together. So, I mean, listen, they're different players, and maybe RJ has a little bit more gumption and dog in certain ways, but Scotty's got different kinds of talent that can be explored and utilized better and better as time goes on. And RJ has made a leap too. In some ways, I'm not as familiar with RJ's New York career. I'm more familiar with Toronto RJ. And Toronto RJ is fantastic all around. I don't know all the foibles and weird stuff that he went through day in and day out when he wore blue and orange, because I didn't pay attention to it as close. I heard the grumblings that RJ's not a good defender, that he may be like a high volume shooter that doesn't make a lot of shots. He's not efficient, but that's not what I see now. So I can't go by this. I'm sure RJ's made a huge leap jumping from New York to Toronto, but I don't comprehend it as well because I didn't watch Knicks basketball regularly. Only when they came and played us. That's it. Yeah. I mean, once again, I don't like putting a versus or comparing who to who on what. They both got dog, and they're both going to be leaders for this team, and they're both going to do different things to help the team, but also similar things at times also. How about that? Yeah, let's see. Fiercely saying, I appreciate Darko's mindset in respect to developing, but his lineups are so questionable at times, actually on many occasions. I won't say this. In some ways, you guys, we can't get pitchforks out for our coach. We really can't, because we can't understand the rhyme or reason to why he's doing it exactly. It may be very intentional that he played Bruce Brown 17 minutes last night because Masai and Bobby told him we need to show Bruce because he has to be traded. You know, there's a lot of underlying reasoning for rotation that we are not privy to, that may be confidential inside the organization because of certain things. It could very well be some players get punished on the down low. We have no idea. And that's why they get a DMP. It could very well be that they are trying to showcase Bruce Brown right now because they're trying to move him. So they had to play him. No, I mean, listen, I can get mad at him for combinations not fitting and going right. But in some ways, I'm not going to say that Darko screws up rotations regularly or I'm seeing a pattern or anything like that. No. Out of all the games they played this season, there's been maybe 4 games where I've been like, I hate the rotations that Darko's done. Maybe 4 games. And that's most games I'm very happy with his rotation. So I don't want to start painting a picture like this. Many occasions that you're questionable about his rotations. No. Last night, sure. Maybe 2 weeks ago, sure. Maybe 2 months before that, sure. But not every game, not many occasions. We can't paint that kind of picture because casuals and idiots will run with that kind of line of thinking, and they'll try and take care of our coach by getting him out of here. So I'm very careful about my criticisms of Darko Rajakovic because in some ways they'll get misinterpreted and the ball will get carried down the field in the wrong way than what I mean. I may be critical of what he's doing in the rotations last night, but that doesn't mean he's bad at rotations normally. It just means that last night, well, it was kind of weird. Part of it is that he had the ability to play anybody. He had more of a chance to make decisions, and some guys were just not going to get to play. And that's part of why it's more pronounced, is because he had the whole plethora of his whole team available to him. and he made these decisions. And in some ways, I'm be like, what? What? Like Monique's saying, Darko's rotation leave me with questions. Yeah. I mean, I did too. But in some ways, maybe he had to give this shot to Bruce now. Maybe he had to do this in certain ways, and now he's going to adjust from it. And well, let's see what happens in New York tomorrow night as far as who he starts and who's going to get the minutes off the bench and how much and what. That's what I'm saying. It could very well be Davion Mitchell's playing in the rotation tomorrow night, and he'll have a big factor in things. That'd be great. Fiercely saying, yeah, Bruce Brown doing cardio. Guess he does his conditioning while playing. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a joke, but it frustrates the hell out of me. It makes me mad. And in some ways, that's totally true to say. We'll go ahead and do the rest of the Raptors rotation for last night in the stats. Emmanuel Quickly, tough night. He had one really good game against Brooklyn, and the 2 games since he's kind of had a tough night. The second night, he not so good against Orlando. Last night, okay, but he could have been way, way better. 3 of 10 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. Emmanuel makes more of his threes than he misses. We're in better shape, honestly. Like him and Grady, in particular, if they're missing their threes, it really hurts us. It really, really hurts us. I mean, between our starters last night, they were 23 3-point shots, and they only made 6 of them. 6 of 23 for our 3-point shooting from our starters, just our starters. That's a problem. 4 of 4 at the free throw line, though, which is really good. 1 rebound, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers, a minus 26, 11 points in 30 minutes. It's not a good game by Emmanuel. In some ways, not enough assists at all. In some ways, he was not connecting with his teammates and making them better. In some ways, Emmanuel was just kind of off last night, and he did not connect with people. It's weird. It's weird because if he's not going to make his shot, at least he'll hook people up and get them easy baskets. He wasn't doing that last night. So this is a bad game for Emmanuel last night. It's a bad game. It's admittedly a very, in some ways, he's going to take it on himself. He'll think about what happened, and he'll try and do better for next game. Grady Dick, 3 of 12 from 3. 3 of 12 from the field, 3 of 9 from 3. He only took 3 shots that weren't threes. That's no good. I want you to mix it up more half and half, Grady, because in some ways, you'll get the 3-point shots to go in easier if you go in and get a basket closer to the basket. Seriously, because that's a similar thing I'd say to Scott is go inside and work your way out. And in some ways, yeah, you're a spot up shooter and you can start from outside and be hot. But in some ways, if you're not making your threes early like you have in recent games, Grady, you need to go and get a basket early somewhere inside first. And then you can get that stuff. But, you didn't make a basket inside. You made 3 3-pointers, and that's it. That's it. 2 for 2 at the free throw line, 11 points for Grady. That's just not the points production we need from you, especially if you're going to be a starter. Now, if you're going to come off the bench like Jacoby and you guys get double digits, I'll be happy. But if you're going to be a starter, I need you to get 15 plus, at least 15 plus. If not 20, it'd be awesome. So that's the thing, Grady. If Coach Darko is going to bestow you the honor of starting for the Toronto Raptors, you need to take that sacredly. And you need to say, all right, I'm a starter. I got to score at least 15 points because that is my part and throwing my part in the bucket to help the Raptors get enough points to win. And 11 points ain't going to cut it for Emmanuel or Grady. Neither one of them. 3 rebounds for Grady, 3 assists, 1 block, 1 turnover, a minus 15. Yeah, we just can't have dead notes anywhere. We need a double-digit scores on starters, and we need a couple of guys coming off the bench that are going to get double digits also. And then we'll be in good shape. We'll be in good shape then. Kelly Olynyk off the bench, 10 minutes, 1 of 4, misses only 3, 1 of 2 at the free throw line, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 1 steal, a +1 with 3 points in 10 minutes. So they won when Kelly was on the court by 1 point. I got to say that. Jonathan did get in and keep his streak. He unfortunately missed the game on Friday because he was playing for the 905. So his 82 game dream is over. He'll be 81 at least. If not, he may miss more games before the end of the year. And there are a tough decision coming up with Jonathan Mobo because the 905 are about to go on a trip away from the Raptors, and the decision has to be made whether he's going to be going with the G League team or stick around with the main team. I think he needs to go with the G League team. And I think Shed should too, honestly. We're going to really need to showcase Bruce Brown right now. Y'all should send Shed to the G League team and let him run that team also. If it's all about development and getting these guys better, I think that they need to run the show down there and show excellence and winning for Andrew Jones, just like Fred VanVleet did in his rookie year too. So Jamal, I'm sorry. Number 23 went to Mississauga in the past. Well, he's got to go back there. If I'm making the decisions, Darko, that's what I'm doing. And I'm playing Davion Mitchell more on the main squad. And Jamal's making a tough decision. He's going to go to 905 for a stint and really run that show down there for a while and be the main point guard floor general for that team, running it, hopefully with success and learning how to successfully run the G League team. That's what Fred did. We want to repeat greatness. That's right. Jonathan, perfect from the field last night. 1 of 1 with only one attempt for 3. 2 for 2 at the free throw line. Made those 2. 1 offensive rebound, 2 fouls, a +5 in 5 minutes, 5 points in 7 minutes at the end of the game. I'm glad Jonathan came in at the end of the game. And it was very cool to see him hit one of our threes. Nobody else going to hit no threes. Jonathan going to come in and hit a 3 late. That'll happen. Bruce Brown, we already went over him and his cardio line. Abaji not starting in some ways hurt his offense. It really did. In some ways, it really, really did. Because in some ways, he had to come in and be the absolute defensive stopper for the bench unit that was not very capable defensively. So he had to work even harder, and it suffered his offense. He was 0 for 4 from 3, 1 of 5 overall, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 points for Abaji. And we've seen Abaji explode for a huge amounts offensively, like getting 20-point games or hitting lots of threes. I think that may be part of the reason why you may need to switch the two of them, is because Grady's going to get his offense no matter what at some point, somehow, some way. But if he's coming off the bench, it won't hurt us as much if he's cold. In some ways, it's a lot of the same arguments as Gary Trent Jr. last year. And Oshai will at least give us that basic standard of defensive presence and rebounding and certain things that he does no matter what, even if he's not scoring. So I think that is something that's tough to do, juggling the two Kansas Jayhawks between the starting lineup. But it really is an offense for defense switch. And Darko, on certain nights, you may want Oshai out there to give you good defense from the start and save Grady as your offense coming off the bench. Seriously. Jamal Shed, 18 minutes, 1 of 6, 0 for 2 from 3, 1 of 2 from free throw, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 1 turnover, +2 with 3 points in 18 minutes. He's another one of these guys running cardio. If I'm going to come down on Bruce Brown for only scoring 3 points in 17 minutes, I got to do the same thing to Jamal Shed for 3 points in 18 minutes. You know, I love the assist to turnover ratio. I love you setting people up. You're getting people involved. That's fantastic. But in some ways, if you're going to get a certain amount of minutes on an NBA court, you need to fill it up. That's just always been the case. And the teams that are bad in this league have guys that are dead notes that don't score enough for the minutes that are out there. This is big part of the reason why I think Jamal should be in 905 in this healthy era of this part of the season, that we need him to go and get a lot of minutes down there and hone his craft in the G League where it's not as big time. He's getting tons of big time minutes on the big court against the big clubs in the NBA. He has that experience, but now it's time for him to go and master the other levels. So divert him to 905. Darko, you should, seriously, give him his own show down there where he can be a manual for that team and running things. And we could get Davion Mitchell off the bench with his defensive edge. That's what I'm saying right there. All right, went over Jacoby Walter off the bench. DMPs for Chris, Bruno, Garrett, and Davion, which is crazy. It's crazy to me, man. I don't understand that. Hour and a half in. Keep going, Lex. Keep going. That's right. Seymour's here. Good to see Seymour Pape holding it down in Alberta for us. Seymour, how's it going out there in that central mountain time? Let's see. Having barbecue on the bench all at the same time is insane. Not even 2K does stupid shit like that. Growing pains. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Darko will hear that criticism and he'll take it to heart, and we won't ever see something like that ever again. I hope so. I mean, Darko, if you're still sourcing out information on how to do things and you are putting an ear to the Raptor Street channel, I hope some of the things I've said today are helpful and things that maybe you're like, duh, of course, Raptor Street. What you're saying makes sense. And we've already thought about this. You're not telling us anything we need to know. That's probably true. But still, who knows? Maybe there is a little bit more I'm putting out there that allows them to kind of think, well, this is crowdsourcing of the fans. It sounds like they want us to start Oshai instead of Grady. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Fiercely saying, oh, wait, I read that one. Let me skip down. Stargate saying, I really, really like Darko. Don't get me wrong, but something is not right with the coaching decisions he makes. And this is for a while now. Don't blast me, Lex. Laugh out loud. I'm not going to blast you, man. Like I said, if you guys are regulars and you've been in here a long time, we can disagree. And I'll do it in a way that, I won't go crazy unless it's very egregious. And I think that you guys know what I'd get more bent out of shape about at this point, especially if you've been here for a while. No, I like talking about this kind of stuff. I think this is a fair conversation. And in some ways, if you approach it in a respectable way, we can talk about whatever. It's just that sometimes people are trolls and they want to just put digs in there, and I'll stand up for people otherwise. Listen, Darko's not a perfect coach. He's got different strengths and weaknesses, and we've seen some of the weaknesses for sure, but we see there's a lot of strengths, and that's what we need to understand. A lot of people are perfectionists and they want just a perfect everything, whatever it is they're working on, a project. And they may throw out a really good project that they did because it's not perfect. We can't do that. We can't be that way. There's going to be foibles. There may be a couple of blights, a couple of things on the Darko's coaching resume or his style that we don't like. But we got to look at the whole pros and versus cons kind of thing and understand where does it add up versus each other. Seriously, that's what Raptors fans should think about. All right, this guy's really good development coach. He's obviously making our players better. Okay. He's also doing a really good job keeping the vibes up and strong and the guys together. And maybe recently it hasn't looked like they've put in good efforts in games, but there has been a track record where he gets more out of them at certain times, and that'll come back around. I really do feel like what Bruce said around Christmas is true, that our team's been sick and tired, literally. RJ going through very serious illnesses recently, and they've been tired because the schedule's been a grind, and they've been really kind of worn down at this point. We got to remember also, this team has a lot of rookies on it, and rookie walls get hit earlier than veteran walls. In some ways, collective of our team being so young, they're going to hit more of a wall earlier in the season than teams that have a lot more savvy NBA vets that have been in the league for like almost 10 years. Does that make sense? So, I mean, there's a couple of reasons for different things right now. Now, as far as Darko with rotations, yeah, I'll criticize him about this to an extent. Maybe I'll criticize him a little bit for play calls in late game situations that could have maybe been better. We saw the Raptors. Here's something that's indicative of a team in a rebuild. The Raptors had 3 over and backs last night. And the refs could have been nice and just overlooked a couple of them like they have in the past weeks, but they didn't this time. There was one play where it's very close, and Scotty was just coming over the third one they got. This was the third one. The first 2 were forced by the Bucks defense and really hounding us. The third one was stupid. It was like a handoff from Kelly to Scotty or something, and Scotty hadn't fully came across the line, and Tyler Ford and his crew were sticklers, and they called an over and back turnover on us. That's the sign of a team that's just not polished and playing fundamentally correct because it's making needless turnovers, unforced turnovers that are silly. And that is part of a rebuild. That is part of a young team. That is part of having a team where we're at right now. And it's now normal. It's natural. And in some ways, that stuff has to get cleaned up, and they have to get better on that kind of stuff to be a real competing team. We've had silly ass turnovers that you shouldn't make, and we've had missed free throws that are just dumb too. So, there's a lot of cleaning up that our franchise can do to improve and get better. And those signs of those over and backs and really dumb, like, Jacoby had a fantastic transition 3 opportunity, but he stepped on the out of bounds when he was coming around. That's a rookie mistake. That's a young mistake. And well, Brett Nansel and Jason Goldenberg and Tyler Ford are there as teachers in some ways to teach young Raptors how to play the game of basketball in the NBA correctly. And if they're breaking rules, well, they're going to punish them. And that's why you got to be perfect and not make those stupid mistakes, those unforced turnovers in those kind of ways. Yeah. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's see. Fiercely saying Bruce Brown burning off calories from the Timbits he loves so much. I don't know. That man's never looked overweight or anything like that. He looks like a guppy to me. Like he just looks like a little guppy fish. I'm just like, man, why doesn't this guy like show some speed? Why doesn't this guy show some defensive tenacity? Like if this dude was out there guarding people like Davion is, I would give him a lot more credit and be like, yeah, this dude's awesome. Wow, look at how he's tying this guy up. No, he's not. He's not anything extra special on defense. And in some ways, I'm like, dude, this guy's like He's a shim sham man. He's fooled everybody. He's fooled people into thinking he's this and this and this, and he's just a 6-foot guy, 6'5" guy that's played in the NBA for a while and something like that. Maybe he's really good on a really good team, but on a bad team, he's not good at all. And that may be part of the problem right now. Kareem's saying, I think the Raptors need to hold off on the nickname BBQ, especially if we keep getting cooked like this. They need to grow into something naturally. No, I think the name is here to stick, and even the media is starting to jump on it and put it on blast and talk about it on the air. And because in some ways it's a fan organic thing. I mean, it's a natural thing. I mean, their initials are BBQ, and it's a natural thing. So, I mean, I get it. And some people say, "Oh, barbecue is going to get cooked." Yeah, there is opportunities for it to be used against us. But I think that overall, it's not going to be a problem, and it'll come through in the end in the right kind of way. Yeah, I don't know. Holding off on it, well, we can't control what people are going to do. With Matt Devlin and Jack Armstrong going to mix up that kid's name and call him Ryan Reynolds, they're going to do that. And Matt Devlin had such. Did you notice how Matt Devlin called his nephew last night? He's such a homer for his nephew. He was like really talking him up during the broadcast. It was awesome. He's doing little nods to his family and stuff, like his wife. Yeah, it was really, really cool. Matt Devlin, you're awesome, man. No, don't ever change. And it must have been a real thrill for you to call a game with Liam Robbins out there and see your nephew out there playing against you and stuff. But yeah, he was extra special attention on him with the call. The funny thing was Robbins was not that good last night. And in some ways, Matt Devlin's call was nice to him. I think there was one play where he got blocked really bad. And Devlin said he lost the ball instead of saying, oh, Robbins got blocked. He could have emphatically called that in a much more negative way towards his nephew, but he was very pragmatic and nice to him. Made a neutral call on it. It was pretty funny. It's kind of an insight to hear the psychology of Matt Devlin calling his own family in the game. Very, very interesting. Yeah, Liam Robbins, 0 for 2, 1 for 2 at the free throw line, 1 point in 6 minutes, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, a -5 for the Bucks. It was cool. What a thrill. He kept talking about it from Vanderbilt, SEC player, played for Jerry Stackhouse. He's like going on about him. It was pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Bryce is saying, is Coach selling our games on purpose? I refuse to believe he doesn't know his rotations are murky toilet water. I mean, this is a theory, and I mean, it would make sense. I don't know. Maybe for like the first 10 minutes of the game when he has a barbecue starting lineup out there, he's like, yeah, we will see. This is the real stuff. And when I bring the bench in, yeah, we're folding then. Maybe. I mean, this could be true, Bryce, on the down low. We don't know it. Like I said, you guys may be shocked just how much Bobby and Masai have a handle on what we do for our minutes and who we play. You guys may be shocked at exactly how much they tell Darko this is what they need to do. And it could be more that it's not even Darko's decision, that that these guys are telling him who they need to play. And in some ways, Darko's just following the directions. Could that be possible? Because Bobby and Masai may be like much more involved in this. This is kind of like the question I asked Evo at the coach's open house when we all went last year. I said, Coach Evo, how do you decide which players get to play which time and whether they're ready for a bigger role? And Coach Evo laughed at me kind of. He's like, well, that's the pay, the how much they get paid determines how much they play. Is what he said basically. So I was like, wait, what? So with that theory and that kind of thinking, that means that's why Bruce Brown's playing, because he's like a $17 million a year guy. And if he's going to be on our team and he's getting paid that amount of money, well, that means he may have to have more of a role playing because he's getting paid that much. That could be part of it. That could be part of it. I don't know. Once again, I'll say the rotations may be murky and weird, but it may be Masai's fault because he's telling Darko to play guys. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? And maybe on the down low, also Darko's that whole classic Raptors versus between the GM and the coach of Brendan Malone and Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah's telling Brendan, lose games. You won 20 games, and I'm mad about that. You're fired. And well, maybe Masai and Bobby are like, we are on the capture the flag tip, and we are stealth tank commanders, ethical tankers. And Darko, I'm sorry. You have to play Bruce Brown for 17 minutes and lose the game because of that. We have to showcase him. And you know what? We're trying to lose anyway because we want a good draft pick. Oh, but I want to win now, Masai. I want to win now. I'm Brendan Malone. Well, I'm sorry. I'm Isaiah Thomas, and you need to develop the young guys. You need to play Bruce because we're trying to trade him. And if we lose, so what? We're happy. You know, we don't know how much of that push-pull is behind the scenes right now. You know, Darko's got to be one way. He's like a leash dog in the backyard, a pit bull who's chained to the tree. He has to be relentless and like win, win, win. Rah! But they have to chain him up and maybe hold him back from doing that because he's not a coach that's pulling punches. He's not doing this on purpose. It's probably very much that the front office are manipulating things from above him. Does that make sense, Raptors fans? Seriously, we got to think about the whole picture. And part of the iceberg, we can't see. It's under the water. And there may be part of it right there, the murky toilet water. Fierce. I'm going to give you a dunk, Bryce, because you said murky toilet water. Yeah, I mean, I get it. That rotation really was kind of like that. 6 dunks for Bryce in the new year. He's got 2 3-pointers now. Booyah Kasha. Fiercey saying, yes, currently I have more confidence in Jacoby than Grady. Hoping Grady's recent performance won't affect his potential all-star presence at the Rising Stars segment. No, Grady's going to be fine. Grady's had such a huge jump this year. He's gotten notice. He'll be at Rising Stars. Oh, yeah, he'll be there. And we should have a rookie there, too. They should pick at least one of our rookies to go down there also. So we have a Raptor on both teams, on the sophomore team and on the rookie team. And actually, I don't know if they do it that way anymore. I think that they mix them all up together at this point in the Rising Stars Challenge. I think Grady will be there and maybe Jacoby. It depends on how much more time Jacoby can get out there and play, because it'd be nice to have him out there. There's an off chance that maybe Jamal Shed will be at that Rising Stars game also. I think those are the most likely candidates right now. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Bryce is saying, Kareem, our Raptors are indeed barbecue chicken, as Shaq would say, just feasting on us. Bam, son, booyaka. Alan Tam has returned to the chat with a booyaka and his squirt gun. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say, yeah, barbecue getting cooked. Barbecue is cooking. There's different ways we can use this or use it against us. I don't care. Once again, these are words. In some ways, the moniker is just a moniker to kind of put that group together. You can read into it however you want. You really can. But, you know, everything can be done that way to a certain extent. So I'm not going to worry about taking away the barbecue nickname just because people say we're getting cooked. I mean, we're getting cooked anyway. It doesn't matter if we call our team barbecue. So that's the way I look at it. Nako's saying, I like Bruce Brown in that Denver run, but yeah, he's been bad. What are you, a sheep today? Every day, like every comment from Nako right now is like he's like bleeding like an ewe in the field right now. Bad. But here he's been bad. Even playing Mobo over Bruce would have been better. At least we would be developing. Yeah. Yeah, been better for rebounding, would have been better for a bigger defensive presence. Yeah. I mean, seriously, we can question Darko's rotation last night. Sure, we can. Bruce Brown got 17 minutes of cardio. That gives you an opportunity to question his rotation right there. Right there. Tobias Frost is here. All right, Tobias, I'm playing you this week in the fantasy league. You're going down, Boom Busters. That's right. Look out. All right, let's see what Tobias is saying, and we got to be careful here. It's time to can Darko. He's a shitty coach. Okay, that's a big no-no right there. And I'm going to beat your ass on fantasy for this comment right here. This team can't even win with the best possible roster. Oh, my gosh. I thought I'd caution about this sky is falling mentality, and I gave you all the reasons why you shouldn't get in this mindset already in this chat. But we'll go further. This is a strike, by the way. You're getting a strike. Let's see. This team has been nothing but embarrassing this season with Darko as head coach. Time to call it out. Whoa, bud. You're missing an assignment, Tobias Frost. We're in a rebuild. Hello. Are you listening? Tobias? No, bro. No, we don't do this. We don't throw our coach out halfway through the process because he needs to see it through. And yeah, this is supposed to happen right now. You didn't get with the program or understand this? Maybe you need to go watch some other teams that are doing rebuilds and understand this is all normal. And you can't blame the coach for this shit. You're blaming him because we're healthy and you're like, oh, see, we have our best possible team. This is not our best possible team. Even though they're healthy, this is not our best possible team. They're getting better on their own, on their way, Tobias. So, no, man, you get a strike. And be careful. Tread lightly. I'll allow this one because you never comment hardly. If you're going to come in here and bring this garbage in here, I'm going to tell you just like Jack Armstrong, get that garbage out of here. Okay? Because seriously, I'm going to stand with my coach. And no, what do you say? It's time to can Darko? No, it's not, motherfucker. You're dumb if you think that. Seriously, you get mad at me for calling you dumb and a motherfucker because you're coming at my coach. I will call people a motherfucker for that. Seriously. Fiercely saying even Trent Jr. cooked us to some extent. Well, he's in a system. He's in a Milwaukee system, and he fits in it in a way that is conducive to him. And that's basically Giannis runs in the lane, he draws all the attention, and he kicks it out. And there's Gary to hit an open three. So it works. I'm not mad at Gary cooking us. Gary cooked so many people in a Raptors uniform the other way. This is normal. What is this weird that Gary Trent beat us? No, Gary Trent's a good player. And in some ways, he's been hurt a lot in the last year. The last year he was a Raptor, he was obviously hurt, and he couldn't be his optimal self. Well, maybe he's feeling better now, and he's able to play at a better level. And thank goodness he's, because I like him. I'm glad he's doing that well. We can't say this, even Gary cooked us. He's a good player, Fiercey. And he's cooked many, many people in a Raptors uniform going the other way. So come on, let's have some respect. I know I dumped on Gary a bit last year, but on the down low, I felt bad for him because I knew his plantar fasciitis was making it hard for him to take off and do things. And it wasn't his fault. He was in a bad position. Well, he's healthier now. He's in a system that benefits him, and he's flourishing. And I can't get mad at that. I can't get mad at that at all. Monique's saying Jacoby's shown great things lately. Yeah, he's just solid. He's just real, real solid. He's literally solid with his body and his muscles and taking contact and staying square and hitting shots. And I love that about Jacoby. He's awesome. Jimmy's saying coaching staff decisions have me scratching my head sometimes. Yeah, we gone deep on this today, Seymour. And Jimmy Pope, we've gone deep on this today. And I'm trying to give you guys the rationale and understanding to understand this and not just take a account like Tobias is here and just kind of a very shallow understanding of this. Yeah, all intents and purposes, looking from the outside, it looks real bad, but you have to understand the inside mechanics and why. And it's not like magically we're going to compete with the NBA Cup champions, a team that is actually a playoff team that is going to be possibly getting rounds into the playoffs. Come on, guys. Let's have the perspective and understanding of the whole picture and understanding. And y'all are making snap judgments. And that's where, not as mature fans will make snap judgments on every little thing right in the moment and not look at the big picture and the whole perspective, the whole project and what's going on. And that's why you can't fire your coach right now. It's ridiculous. Fire your coach right now. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. What is that going to do? We're going to get a new coach and have to start all over again. And the same damn problems will happen a year from now. And we'll just spin our wheels. So that's why you don't fire a coach right now. Our coach is good. He's doing a very good job, even if the results on the court are not adding up to wins. Y'all need to just trust me on this. I know what I'm watching and I'm seeing. And Darko's a fantastic coach. He's not somebody to get mad at just for bad rotation decisions last night. He's not somebody to say, because our team's fully healthy and they sucked against the Milwaukee Bucks last night, he needs to be fired. No, those are overreactions. Those are snap judgments. And they're not very educated opinions because they're not seeing the whole big picture of what's going on right now, is what I'm saying right now. That's right. Seymour saying, now, Fiercey, that's really bad. Gary Trent Jr. cooked us. Oh, my God, we lost to a construction worker. See, that's disrespectful. That is not who Gary is. You even say that because he shot a lot of bricks last year for us? Well, he was hurt. And seriously, Gary's a good player. Y'all need to stop with the Gary slights because he doesn't deserve them, man. He really doesn't. He doesn't deserve that. Stargate saying development is not one-dimensional. It's multifaceted. It's not just about individual skills. It's also about developing a team and team-winning concepts and principles and conduction. Boom does a dynamite. This is a very important comment by Stargate because, look, individuals can progress as individuals in their own specific games, but it's also the unit needs to progress as a team together and knowing each other. And we have nowhere with that yet. We just got our team together for the first time last night. So how the hell y'all going to think that they're going to make it all work all instantly right away? They've got to get the synergy, the reps, and the chemistry up and the understanding. And that is part of the growing pains now. It's like it sucks because we couldn't start doing this at the beginning of the season. Emmanuel's out. Now that he's back, everybody's back. We can start doing it now. But it doesn't mean instant wins, y'all. You need to understand this. As he said, is multifaceted. And you got to dunk Stargate for your comment because it's exactly right. There's development in the individual and there's a development as the collective. And in some ways, we're starting to develop the collective now because they finally all showed up. Does that make sense? Fiercey saying Pascal not being utilized adequately by the Pacers. I so hope he could come back to us. Doesn't make any sense. Ridiculous plea or prayer. Seriously, I love you, MJ, but that's a ridiculous thing. It's like, why would he come back here? And what would he come back to? Seriously, at this point, we're moving in a new direction. In some ways, we can't pine for our ex. No, you want to bring your ex back in your life. You know, you're just going to go through the same things. It's not that Pascal was bad or wrong. It's just that era is over and we need to let it go. You know, I don't even know what's going on in the Pacers, if they're utilizing him correctly or not. I mean, people would say that we didn't utilize him correctly on our team. Maybe Pascal's just a weird player that it just looks like weird and he doesn't get utilized correctly because he's just a hard player to figure out because he's strange. I don't know. There could be a lot of different reasons for this. That's right. I think that he's fine in Indiana, and hopefully Indiana will get their shit together and start winning more because I'm rooting for them. That's right. That's right. Fiercely saying, yep, Seymour, it was bad. It was bad. No, it's not. Y'all are overreacting, over dramatizing something. Gary Trent Jr. is healthy. He's a good player. And him getting shots over us, it's nothing to do with him. It's the Milwaukee system. This goes back to what Stargate is saying. It's about the multifacetedness of development. And the Milwaukee Bucks have a resume for how long? They've kept their championship core intact to a degree. So it's like, hello, that's a team that has a couple players just gone and a couple players shuffled in, but it's still a team that won a championship in the last 5 years. So come on, guys, let's get realistic here and understand that the talent and level of play that Antetokounmpo is makes Gary Trent Jr. better. And once again, this is not a slight or, oh, poor us, we got beat by Gary. No, that's not a bad thing. That is just something that happens. Gary beats all kinds of people around the league. And y'all need to stop disrespecting Gary, seriously. Just because he's not on our team anymore, I still have loyalty to him. And I don't do this. I don't do this, guys. I don't do this. I don't dump on players after they leave. Like people treat DeMar DeRozan so poorly, Kyle Lowry so poorly when they leave, Fred VanVleet so poorly when they leave, talking trash about them on their way out. That's not classy. Raptors fans that do that. Have some more respect for our alumni and understand that they served in our uniform and they were very helpful at that time. And they can't all be on our team forever. And we need to let them go on to their pastures in the future and be okay with it. And like, seriously, the dumping on Gary right here is not necessary, Fiercey or Seymour. Seriously, it's not necessary at all. That's right. Jimmy's saying, I feel bad for Davion. Dude just booted out of the rotation, even though he's the best point of attack defender. You know, in some ways, the problem with Davion is actually that he's been hurt on the down low. You don't even realize this. He's had a lingering injury that they've been kind of treating on the down low, and that's part of the reason why he hasn't been playing, guys. Just so y'all know. That's something that they're not bringing to light or talking about a whole lot, but he had a DNP recently because of the injury, and he's not 100%. So that could be part of the reason why he's not playing right now, just so y'all know. David's here, guys. Happy New Year, gang. Hope y'all are doing well. Back at you, David. I haven't heard from you in a while. I'm hoping you're still going to do the trivia scoring for me, man. I'm not totally sure. I'm not totally sure if David wants to still be the trivia commissioner. But, David, please do your job if you are going to still do it. If you're not, please respectfully tell me you're not. And I'll start to do it again myself. I just want to clear up the confusion. I mean, it's there for you to do. I have no problem with you. I don't like you talking bad about Fred. It kind of goes back to what I was just talking about 5 minutes ago, that we need to respect our alumni, even though they're not on our team anymore. I'll stand up for Gary right now. I'll stand up for Fred. I'll stand up for Dennis. I'll stand up for Pascal. I'll stand up for Kyle. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, yeah. But, David, since you're here, we'll go ahead and do the classic card real quick. Man, why did they take the timestamps off here? I'm going to use Alan's Canadian flags as my place to go back on the chat. All right, this is a more recent card, guys, because it's from Christmas, and my niece and nephew gave me Christmas cards. And, well, we're going to use them on the show right now for the classic card. It's not very classic, and it's very easy. So write it in quickly, because you're going to lose this if you don't. It's a very easy card, and I won't even put it that close. And we'll see how close I have to bring it before somebody gets it. This is very easy. Very, very easy. Yeah, they've been very easy the last 2 days. In some ways, these are like players that you guys should know right away. The one yesterday, sheesh. Kristaps Porzingis. No, it's Nikola Jokic. That's right. Fiercey's got it. It's a Jokic City Edition hoops card. It's shiny, and it's really cool looking. Look at that. Nikola Jokic. That's right. Just ahead of Seymour, Fiercey. And Mike, you have a crazy spelling there. That's a crazy spelling, man, right there. You thought it was Porzingis. I mean, he's too fat to be Porzingis.
In some ways, you got to be like a little bit skinnier. All right, so let's see. All right, so it's Fiercey, Nikola Jokic. It's 100. I can't give you more than that. I'm sorry, that's too easy. Nikola Jokic. Fiercey, and it's 100 points. Yeah, too easy. Nikola Jokic, the classic card of the day. Not so classic. There you go. Kareem's like, I'm a fucking dumbass. No, you're not, man. It's just maybe we got to go to the doctor, get an eye test. That's all. We get in our 40s, Kareem. We got to start maybe getting reading glasses like I had to this year. Alan, thank you for the Canadian flag cut off or cut in there with the hearts. Man, Alan Tam, just for being such a great fun time with their BAMs and your Canadian flags and your updates on the Canadian roster last summer. Man, Alan, I'm going to give you a dunk. This is going to be your dunk, your first dunk of 2025. 3-pointer for Alan Tam. Bam, son, for his emoticon art. I love it. Yeah, Seymour saying same to you, to David. Yeah, happy New Year's, David. I hope you had a great, fantastic New Year's celebration with loved ones and just good times. Mo saying, how are you, David? Mo's wondering how you're doing. We see Mo put up some footage yesterday on her Facebook of her getting down to the court and getting to be down near the court. That's awesome, Mo. That's so cool that they made that arrangement, got you down there for the Orlando game, and then you got to sit in a suite up in the during the game for the Magic. Fantastic stuff. I love seeing Superfan Mo getting to do very fun Raptor stuff all the time. It is a joy for me to see her doing that fun stuff. I'm telling you. Stargate saying, remember, I said earlier this season that just like winning is contagious, losing is equally as contagious. And I was concerned. It's not that they lose, it's the way they are losing that's telling. I mean, I don't know if anything's contagious. I think that in some ways it's like every single day you play in the NBA, you have the ability and the opportunity to either win or lose. And every single factor in that has to do with experience and knowledge and ability and talent. And some ways, the way the Raptors are now is that we just don't have the knowledge to match it. We have the talent. We have talent. We have talent that's going to be fantastic in the years to come. It's just that the knowledge with that talent is not there to write the story on a given night to win. In some ways, we've got to do certain things like blow a team out to get wins right now. In some ways, if it's a close game, we're screwed because there's more knowledge and veteran on the other side almost every single night we play that they're going to outplay us in a close game. Now, you can call this contagious or this or that. I just call it, the team is just going to have a certain output in the way they do things. And whether that adds up to a good winning outcome is not, it's dependent on how well they play cleanly. In some ways, they can play perfect and still not have the knowledge to close the game out and still lose. So there's a lot of factors in this. It's not so simple as just like, we need to change the switch from losing to winning because losing's contagious. No, we have to learn this all over again. And losing is a part of the process. And you could call it contagious or not, but I just call it, we got to learn more and more, get the wisdom through the pain of losing. That is just part of it. It's just part of it right there. It's just part of it. David's saying, excellent. Thanks. Hope you are too. Dap to you, David. I'm glad you're back in the chat, David. Kaz saying, good morning, Lex and crew. Good morning to you, Trucker Kaz. Hope you're having a nice, easy day so far on your Tuesday out there on the road again. That's right. Hopefully there's not crazy snow where you're at. I have a lot of snow in my yard right now, and it has been very, very -10 here the last couple of days. It's very, very interesting living in a cottage in the woods in the middle of January in Canada. This is not the same temperature as downtown Toronto. No, it's not. It's at least a bunch of degrees lower here, and I'm getting adjusted to it. I like it. I've got crazy icicles hanging off my roof right now. Some of them are like 5 feet long. It's insane, the icicles here at my place right now. It's really cool. Really, really cool. Salute to Kaz. That's right. Drive straight on the road. If you're listening to me right now, I wish you all the safety and all the best things in 2025, Trucker Kaz. That's right. Seymour saying, I truly miss Fred, OG, Pascal right now. This is what I'm trying to say, y'all. And I warned y'all before with people who didn't respect Fred. I once again will use this analogy. Fred VanVleet, in his career in the NBA, has learned the treasure map to winning. He has that treasure map, and I call it the Goonies treasure map, where he knows where One Eye Willie's stupid-ass pirate ship is in that lagoon under the in the cave. Yeah, Fred knows how to get to winning, and that's something that people in Raptors Nation did not respect enough about Fred VanVleet, that he knows how to win.
And Kyle Lowry knew it too and taught Fred. And that's the thing. We got to learn how to win again with the guys we got. Now, Jamal Shed has that proclivity and knowledge and intelligence base now, but he's a rookie. He's played barely a half season in the NBA right now. So how the fuck is he going to lead us to win with the Goonies treasure map like Fred did before him? He's got to figure out the map. He's got to draw it up himself and get his own map. And that's why in some ways I'm very much an advocate for Jamal Shed to go to the 905 and start learning the map on an easier level with that team down there. Because just like what Stargate just said, winning and losing can be contagious. Well, let's get him some successful reps on the 905 running that team down there. And then maybe he learns the map more down there and how you win NBA or G League games. And then he can learn it more on the NBA level faster because he had some success in winning on the 905 level, just like Fred VanVleet did. So that's what I'm saying. You know, Pascal, OG, those guys understood what it took to win a little bit better than our Raptors right now. And that is something we miss right now in this change, in the shape of the wedgie season last year, where we turned over our roster and started a rebuild. That's just part of the project, guys. It's just part of how it is. I miss those guys too. I do. I miss them too. Yeah, Tobias agrees. He misses OG and Pascal and Fred. It's just what it is. We went in the Scotty era, and the Scotty era has some tough times in the beginning. But we'll get there, guys. We'll get there. Just trust. Kareem saying, I understand we haven't been able to get acclimated offensively due to injury, but defense is a mindset. Raptors should be able to lock in and show forth some effort. That's what made me upset yesterday. This is fair. This is absolutely fair. And I think you're right, Kareem, that you should be upset with the defensive intensity and effort put out there by the Raptors because it's not matching what we saw at the beginning of the season. And in some ways, it's totally ineffective. We've had teams hanging huge numbers on us recently in the losses we've been taking. Some record losses with franchise records being made because of futility and certain things like that. You're exactly right about this. The effort needs to be better. But we also need to understand that in some ways we're shorthanded with size against most NBA teams as far as the things I've been talking about, like the 3-guard lineup with 1.5 bigs, you know, stuff like that. That's no good. In some ways, we're short suiting ourselves on purpose, maybe on the down low, to not win games because our personnel is not as big as the other team. If the bigger team plays a smaller team, usually the bigger team wins in basketball. That's just the way it is. And that's happening a lot when we match up eye to eye with the other team. We're not matching up eye to eye with them. We're shorter than them. We're smaller than them. They're dominating the boards. They're easily getting to the basket and scoring on us. So part of the reason why our defense is not good right now is our personnel is not big enough to guard some of the teams we've been playing. Memphis is a really good example of this when we played Memphis the other day. So that's part of it. But you're right. The mindset should be the same as the beginning of the season, and the way they went all out and the way they were playing then was much more admirable than the one right now. But once again, take into account the fatigue and the place where we're in the season with injuries and different things that have happened. Well, we're a little tired. We're a little bit more tired than the beginning of the season also. Jimmy saying, yeah, I agree, Kareem. And who the hell is telling them it's okay to go under on screens on shooters? Can't even guard the most simple handoffs as well. Yeah. I think that that's a huge area that they can work on is how they're going to treat three-point shooters and closing them out. And the screen stuff is definitely part of it. Yeah, I can totally get behind this. This is something they need to go overtime on tape and correcting and talking to the players as far as getting better. This is part of how they get better. They look and they learn and they take it in and they practice, and hopefully it gets better and better over time. That's how it works. All right, Trevor, I'm going to do the Instagram story since you gave me my cue here. Let's go look at the Instagram. First, we got Gary Trent Jr. on the Instagram showing highlights of baskets that he made against the Raptors last night in our arena. You know, like, once again, guys, let's not diss Gary and say, oh, this or that. He does look way healthier than he did last year. So in some ways, this is part of why he's better, because he's looking a lot more lithe and a lot more lively and able to move around better. So, I mean, I can't get mad at that. I like Gary a lot. And if he's healthy and he's able to continue to play, he's an NBA Cup champion now all of a sudden. You know, I can't get mad at him like that. You know, if Milwaukee's successful this year, I don't get mad at that. They're not a rival that I get mad. If they won the championship, I was happy for them. I don't get mad at that. They're a small market team. They're more like us than the other teams. In some ways, I don't get mad at them winning over Boston or New York or Philadelphia, because in some ways I see them as a brother team to us that just gets slighted just like the Raptors do. And their achievement in some ways is our achievement also. So if Milwaukee does really well in the postseason, God forbid they win another championship with Giannis, I won't be upset about that. Seriously, guys, I won't be upset about that. Jamal McGlure put on blast the indigenous heritage artwork for the game last night. Very, very cool stuff. They had some very cool moments in between the games showing very, very cool indigenous artists and dancers and different things going on. Very fantastic stuff. Also, he's got an epic moment from the Arsenio Hall show. And Arsenio has on the stage with him, it looks like Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, and Sugar Ray Leonard. What a fantastic three guests to have at the same time on the Arsenio Hall show. That show was underrated. There were a lot of really cool moments that happened on Arsenio's show. And I don't know why we don't see it more or hear more about that show and its importance in the history of television. The Arsenio Hall show was actually a very on the down low important TV show in the history of TV. I'm not gonna lie, seriously. Jamal's showing off some jerseys he's got around right now, and he's got the definition of vex, y'all. Let's do the word of the day real quick. Brought to you by Jamal McGlure, Big Cat, original Canadian Raptor. Vex, to make someone feel annoyed, frustrated, or worried, especially with trivial matters. The memory of the conversation still vexed her. Vex. So hopefully you ain't got nobody vexing you in your life right now with trivial matters. That's right. Then he's got some guys like Wu-Tang. These guys are doing all kinds of like martial arts and stuff. Pretty cool. Okay. Interesting. Matt Devlin's got Doc Rivers talking before the game last night. This is so funny. It's so stupid. And I didn't realize that Matt Devlin's in the opposing coach's locker room listening to them, but he is. Him and Kayla Gray in there. And Doc's talking to Kayla Gray saying, I saw your TikTok. I saw your dancing. Matt Devlin, you're pretty good. You're pretty good. But the other guy, Jack, he's horrible. He's got to stop, man. He's got to stop. It's so funny. And then they went down and they went in on Jack on the broadcast about this, and it's true. And it's hilarious. Like Kayla's saying, like, Jack, you don't dance to the beat. You dance to the lyrics. And I get totally what she's saying. And then like they're saying you're an interpretive dancer. And they just had a jolly good laugh about that for a while. It was actually very funny. And it's true. Jack's a horrible dancer. But man, did it get to the point where Doc Rivers got to call out Jack on his TikTok dancing? Seriously, we got to this point. I mean, it's fun and it's friendly, and I love seeing Doc talk to Darko after the game. Very, very nice to him, talking to him. I know that he said encouraging words to him, and that he feels really good about him. The coaching fraternity is a brotherhood that deals with so much bullshit, and you saw how they banded together for Mike Brown recently in his firing. So it's like, in some ways, they're rooting for each other. Doc Rivers likes Darko, and he thinks he's doing a good job. He has to beat him because that's his job. But at the same time, also, they root for each other in some ways because they understand how hard these jobs are and how thankless that job can be. So, yeah, it's hilarious that Doc Rivers was cracking on Jack about his TikTok dancing. And then there's Matt Devlin showing off the steal by Scotty and the windmill transition. Beautiful throwback. Very Dominique. A little bit of Vince Carter in that dunk by Scotty. I love it. I love it so much. Jamal Shed coming in the game with his rookie bag. There you go. There you go. And also here he is with the ball before the game. He had a mic on him, and he was singing the anthem before the game. That was hilarious. At some point, he realized he's on the mic, and he's singing it. He didn't want to like make fun of the Canadian anthem, so he sang it with his pure heart, and it came through. It's so cute, Jamal Shed. Listening to you on the mic, being mic'd up for the game last night, some of the things you're saying out there, you see how cerebral and smart he is. And yeah, he's goofy too. Pretty funny stuff with the anthem last night, Jamal. Pretty funny. It was good stuff. All right, let's see. 905, the Raptors backstage with the indigenous dancers. The Raptor back there. Pretty cool to see their very colorful outfits and stuff. And there's the Raptor getting down with his 90s jam. There you go. Lloyd is in New York listening to Sister Sledge. It's a beautiful song. Such a good music there, Lloyd. And he's got Scotty's highlight of his dunk and his windmill. He's celebrating one of his best friends in the NBA, hitting a windmill dunk, stealing the ball from the Greek Freak. Pretty awesome stuff. Let's see what else we got. Slim Duck, sing with a "Sing It With Me Now." Nah. Mike Will Made. I don't know what the song is exactly, but he seems like he's mad. I don't know. He's got an angry face. SGA with a cool thermal heat picture of himself, and it looks like the Larry O'Brien or a ball. Jonathan Mobo with some highlights from some game. I have no idea where that is. Is that Navy basketball? I don't know who that is. That's some crazy stuff. Let's see. Who else do we have? We got Davion Mitchell, who's got Off Night Elite Season 4 tryouts. So if you guys play 2K, I think you can try out for his 2K team is what Off Night's doing right now. So if you're interested in playing 2K with him, Sunday, February the 2nd,
Oh, wait, no, this isn't for 2K. This is tryouts for a youth team. So he has a ninth and 10th grade boys team that he wants to coach, that he wants kids to try out for on February the 2nd. 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. is the tryout out at Richmond Hill on Timber Trail is where it's going to be. Official member of the Under Armour Next Basketball Circuit. So Davion's got an off-night elite team that he wants youth in the community to come try out for on February the 2nd, just so y'all know. Putting that out on blast real quick there. AJ Lawson has got the 905 ad for voting for a 905 up next game. So y'all go and vote for 905ers in their all-star game. And make sure you vote for the Raptors, too, in the regular all-star also. So, yeah, there's Scotty Barnes putting on blast this trade school that he's been promoting since he's came in the NBA. So, y'all, you don't need to get a degree at university. You can go to trade school and get a very good career in that way. And in some ways, much more needed and necessary and much more rewarding than going to four-year college and going through all that bullshit. You may not even get a job. You go to trade school, you're going to get a job afterwards, no matter what. Trust me. So, yeah, there's you go, Scotty, putting that on blast as usual. Toronto Tempo's got a young man talking about the greatness of the WNBA on their Instagram. And Wubbs has just got a picture of him walking on an NBA court, just living that NBA life. You go, Jacoby Walter. We love you, man. All right, there's your Instagram stories real quick with all that on that and that. And that. All right, yeah, let's get back to the chat and keep going. We're going to have a Lexathon. It'll be about 3 hours today, I'm pretty sure. Kareem saying, watching the Bucks drive and kick out was such basic basketball, and they were left out all day to shoot. Like, what the fuck is happening here? Orlando, the same thing. These teams are not on a heater, just left open. I think it's a combination that, you know, the opposing coaches, Jamal Mosley and Doc Rivers, noticed that the Raptors are having trouble guarding the three. And they're making it a point of emphasis coming in the game that we want you guys to take a lot of threes and different people and diversify it. And if you make them, it will crush the Raptors. And that's a really easy game plan to beat us. I think that that's what it is. I think that in some ways we really do need to emergency fix our perimeter defense immediately and do way better job of this. And I think that you're right. I think it's not just that these teams are having good quality shooting nights all of a sudden. It's also that we are a particular opponent that this can be utilized against. And that is part of the problem right there. These teams are shooting crazy good. Orlando's not a good three-point shooting team, and they looked so good against us last Friday. So something's wrong. There's something going on with our team as far as not guarding the three correctly. And these guys need to be better about it. That's right. Stargate saying at Kareem, who's the defensive coordinator? Pat Delaney? That tells you everything you need to know about how the Raptors are playing defense. I'm not even sure if he is the defensive coordinator. I don't even know if they have official designations as far as that. They might. They probably do. But I don't know exactly who it is. I don't know who it is. I know that you've made the joke that Pat Delaney's been on a losing team everywhere he's gone. And it is true. It is true. I mean, that is a fair thing to say. I don't know. Listen, guys, I would say this. Once again, every single night the Raptors play, whatever they do on the court, that is not who they are forever. And I think that we're doing this too much. When we watch the Raptors, whether they play really good, like they did against Brooklyn on New Year's Day, or they play really bad, like they did last night against Milwaukee, everybody's taking a snapshot of them in the present moment and saying, this is just who they are forever after this point. That's such a fallacy of thinking that way, that these things change and things can improve very, very quickly. They can also degrade and get worse at times like they have in recent time. And that's what we just need to understand. And the ride as Raptors fans, there's going to be a fluctuation going up and down between excellence and very, very inept kind of stuff. And there may be more ineptitude than excellence at this point right now. So, I mean, we can't do this. Don't take a snapshot and say this is our future forever right now. It's not true. And in some ways, that's why y'all's mindsets in some ways may be a little bit more jaded and negative in this situation. I'm really happy to be one of the positive Raptor fans in this situation, the Raptor freaks, because some mornings I'm way more negative like you guys are today, and you guys are bringing me up. But today I'm doing the opposite. I'm trying to shine the light and tell you why you should stay positive right now. Because I know after last night, yeah, a lot of people are going to look at it, and from the outside, they look at they're a failure. They're completely healthy, and they still got blown out. They're a failure. Well, there's a little bit more deeper things to it, and we need to understand those. Seymour saying Torrey Craig is with Megan the Stallion. Damn, must be hard to focus on ball. That's funny. Okay, a little aside there in the middle of it. Happy New Year's to David from Fiercey. I like to see that. Let's see. Seymour saying Bowen. Bruce Bowen. You're talking about the guy who used to play for Spurs, right? Charles Oakley. Many defensive gurus we could bring in possibly. So you want to bring in new coaches. In some ways, you think that's going to help our defense. I don't know if that's the key. I think it's just effort and getting healthy and feeling better and getting out there and recommitting to doing the work is what it is. It's not necessarily different things. Once again, the coach can only coach. The players have to put the effort in, and we have to remember that. We have to remember that. If you bring in a new assistant coach, Charles Oakley, who's going to be the defensive coach, it doesn't mean he's going to be better than Pat Delaney. It doesn't mean that the players will change and the outcome will happen any different. That's what we got to do right there is understand that. And Stargate saying, Seymour, oh, he is focusing balls. All right. Okay. Flag on the play. I don't know if that was necessary right there. Y'all are laughing about that too much. Let's see. G saying under on screens is such a no-no. I think Delaney might be a concern for real. The defense is not able to make basic stops. Yeah, I don't know if it's Pat Delaney exactly, guys. It could be Coco. It could be Jama. It could be Batiste. It could be any of those guys that's getting that assignment. I don't know. It's not delineated clearly publicly that who the defensive coach for the Raptors is. If it is Pat Delaney and it is part of the problem, well, I'm with you guys as far as if we can upgrade and fix it. But once again, this is the thing. Y'all are all too easy to blame people and come after people and say get rid of people when things are kind of wrong. That's not necessarily what we need to do right now. We need to see this through and see how things go. Now, in the offseason, that's a better time to make changes. And if it is deemed that certain personnel, whether they're players or coaches, are not helping us towards our ultimate goals, well, tough decisions should be made and changes could be switched around. But I'm not throwing Pat Delaney under the bus without any concrete evidence that he is actually a problem, guys. I'm not going to do that. Name was saying, Lex, you need to check yourself or wreck yourself. Oh, my gosh. This is the first time our core is playing together, all of whom are still dealing with injuries. Quit spraying shit everywhere, all over the walls, the floors, the couch. You're shitting everywhere right now. What you're saying? What am I saying right now? That's like that? No. Oh, what do you mean? You're telling I'm just spewing shit out right now, and I don't make any sense? No, come on, man. It's just like when an individual player comes back from injury, they're not magically very good all of a sudden. You know, Emmanuel had a very good game back, but in the game since, he's gone through a biorhythm of kind of getting used to being in regular NBA games again. It's just like a player. You got to find your rhythm. Just because we all showed up last night doesn't mean that they had the rhythm together right away. It's exactly like that. An individual player like Gary Trent in years past, he'd be hurt. He'd come back. He didn't have his rhythm right away. It took him like 2 or 3 games. So why don't we let them be healthy for like 2 or 3 or 4 games, and then let's keep checking in and seeing where they're at. And you can go ahead and say I'm spewing shit all over the place. But I think that what I'm saying is something that is a reality that you may not want to accept right now because y'all want to be in y'all's heads. But if you listen to me and understand what I'm saying, it'll be easier and better for you. And seriously, like an individual comes back, they don't have the rhythm exactly right yet. Well, the same thing with the core. And if the core gets more time together, maybe they'll iron it out in the next couple games. You'll be like, oh, shit, I was wrong. And Lex is exactly right. Thumbs down to you, Nameless. You're saying I'm spewing shit all over my house? No, I'm not. Come on now. Come on now. Randolph saying, Lex, things are messy in Suns land. Bradley Beal on Suns trade rumors. I need to be addressed because I hold the cards. Yeah, that's a mess for sure. Once again, I've lost respect for Bradley Beal many times in his career at different times. And now it's just the latest chapter. I heard that he went off for 25 points off the bench, though, in this game last night. So he's making it harder for them to decide what to do with him. Whatever. I think that he's been not necessary in Phoenix this whole time. You have Devin Booker. Why the fuck do you need Bradley Beal is what I'm saying. You're just adding another big piece of your salary cap in an area you don't really need. So that's why I was like, Matasheba, you're dumb, man. Why did you get Bradley Beal in the first place and mess up your roster build with such a huge chunk of salary on a guy that's not necessary for your team? That's what I would have said at the beginning. Seriously about that. Right there. That right there. Kareem saying, okay, I'm done with the Raptors banter. We still have a chance to finish the year 54-28. Let's get it. No, come on. See, this is part of the problem. You guys have unrealistic goals, and that's why y'all are let down all the time. My goal, I've set the parameters so low at this point that it's really like they have to really embarrass us like they did in some of the games around Christmas for me to be really pissed off at them.
In some ways last night, yeah, I hated that they got a loss by 20 points and that it wasn't a closer game, that it was within 10. That would have been great if that had happened. We'll go look at why real quick. 128 to 104, that's a 24-point loss. That's horrible. And it's the highest. They were 33 points ahead of us at one point. That's horrible. We got 9 more shots on goal than them. We shot worse from the field than they did from 3. They shot 57%. Our defense is ineffective. You guys are exactly right. And these teams are scoring 30-point quarters on us left and right. Like it's easy. The amount of points that are being scored on the Raptors in the last 2 weeks is just bad. Very, 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 very bad. Very bad. 22 threes to 9 threes for the Raptors. Okay. That's part of it right there. Free throws, we get 21 attempts and we only make 13, shooting 60%. That's a problem there. Rebounds, we got out rebounded plus 11 by the bigger Milwaukee lineup. That's a problem right there. Assists, not bad. 27 assists for the Raptors, but 37 for them. Let's see. Turnovers, we did pretty good. We only had 15. They had 21, so we were causing more turnovers for them. And in fact, like I said, the transition points for the Raptors last night was fantastic. We were actually doing really good getting out on the break and getting easy layups and stuff, which is fantastic. 23 points off of transition. And that was a lot of it was in the first quarter, though. We came out there and we were running on them in the first quarter right away with breakaway layups and dunks. And that was fantastic. So the turnovers were actually pretty good. Points in the paint, 54 for us, 40 for them. Yeah, I mean, it's embarrassing. And yeah, we should have came closer with them. Some people say they didn't even have Middleton. Yeah, but Bucks fans are going to tell you right now this morning they want to trade Middleton. They don't think he's necessary on their team right now. And they think that they might have won last night because Middleton didn't play, just so y'all know from the other side. That's what they're saying on their side right now. It's like, oh, Middleton didn't play and we won. Let's trade him right now. Is what they're saying. I mean, that's how it is in some ways. They lost 4 out of their last 5 games before playing the Raptors. And, well, Middleton played in those games. Now Bucks fans are saying, we need to trade Chris Middleton. Does that make sense? Fiercely saying Doc Rivers' final lineup was bench with Vet and Pat Connaughton. Pat Connaughton, yeah. That guy Green jumped over him. The broadcast making the light of that AJ Green is playing way more than Pat Connaughton at this point. Pat Connaughton's been in the league for 10 years. In some ways, he's had probably a very good career for a guy like him to be in the league this long and be a champion and stuff like that. So it's like there's no slouch in this. I mean, there's a natural thing to everybody's career where, you kind of go off in the sunset, maybe not play as much later in your career. Garrett Temple, Thad Young, Pat Connaughton. It's just part of it. It's just part of it. Just part of it right there. Let's see. Fiercey's laughing at Stargate. Trevor's saying, remember, Darko said the starting lineup is not going to be permanent. Different guys are going to get chances to see where they're at. Yeah, he made it very clear that 4 guys will start every time. That's the barbecue and the yak. But that 5th starter could be switched out. And it's very likely that we may see a different guy start in Madison Square Garden tomorrow night. And it could be Abaji. Yeah. Stargate saying both RJ and Quick go under screens a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not keeping track of that. I will look at it more now that you guys are making a big deal out of it today. I don't really look at it as either bad or good. I mean, I know that in some ways, yeah, going under the screen makes it harder for you to get around to the player. But since you guys are making such a note of it, I'll pay more attention to it. And who knows? Maybe there's an adjustment and they'll do better with this. Monique saying, get my new wheelchair tomorrow around the 3:00 hour. Thanks for all your donations. That's an awesome, amazing thing. I love hearing that, Monique, that she's going to get her brand new chair. And thank you to the Raptor Freak family and other people out there that helped donate money to Monique getting her brand new wheelchair tomorrow. This is fantastic. We'd be waiting for the pictures and we'd love to see them. That's right. Tobias is saying that's great, awesome news. It is. It's so awesome. It's a feel-good story. And times are tough for Raptors. We get feel-good stories in the Raptor Freak family, things like with Monique. And that keeps perspective. It keeps us to understand what matters and what doesn't. G saying, I think Darvin Ham may be a good coach and Lakers just threw him under the bus. Turn around for the Bucks and Doc when he joined. 0 losses in the in-season tournament. Yeah. Well, I said this when this happened. When they fired him in L.A., Darvin, I was like, okay, he's going to go back to Milwaukee. He's going to take the head coaching job from Doc Rivers. But Doc is not willing to step aside, and they've got a partnership. In fact, they're very close friends, and they probably do work really well together. And I think that you're exactly right, that the Ham factor is a big part in steadying the ship for the Bucks. But it didn't work right away. Remember, they had a really bad start this season, but they've settled things down. And they've had a worse part of the season recently.
But yeah, I think that you're exactly right, G. I think that Darvin Ham has had a huge impact on the Bucks because Doc Rivers is not the factor. No, we saw how bad they were after Adrian Griffin was fired with Doc Rivers. They were worse. So yeah, G, you're going to get a dunk for astute observation on this and the factor of Darvin Ham on that team on the coaching staff. I think you're exactly right. Those guys are birds of a feather, and actually, Darvin makes Doc a way better coach. I think you're exactly right. Mike's here. Logical Raptors Fanatic saying, give it a sec. The bench and starters have changed so much this year. Yeah, I'm with Mike. Mike's on my team as far as patience, guys. And understand that the snapshot you see presently is not the one you're going to see in 2 weeks from now. It's not the one you're going to see in a week from now, maybe even. So just chill and let's let this core have some time. And yeah, the opponents are hard. This whole league is difficult. We're not one of the better teams in the league. And most nights it's going to be an uphill battle against a better team than us. It's just the damn truth. We got to get better over time, and we will. We will. Just trust us. Trust Mike and Lex on this subject. Seriously, just give us some time. Most saying we're always going to cheer on the team regardless. Stay positive. W stream, W vibes. Keep at it always, Lex. Go Raptors for life. There you go. It's not my cutoff, but I'll take it. I'll take it right there. Mike's saying we got to showcase Bruce if we want to trade him. So spotlighting Brown in the best position is a good play at the moment. What? He's not looking good, though. That's the thing I'm worried about, Mike, is that he's going out there and he's stinking the bed and he don't look good. That's not helping to sell him, right? That's not helping to sell him. So he needs to play better. G saying, I want to see IQ, Davion, Scotty, RJ, Yak start just to see how the defense and playmaking look like. Oshai with Grady off the bench so Oshai can help Grady. That's an interesting idea. I'm not against that either. You know, Davion started the season in the place of IQ, and he wasn't a bad starter. And there may be some of the factors in our great defense at the beginning of the year because Davion was starting. So this is a very good suggestion by G. And if Darko is going to shuffle around the starting lineup to see what's kind of clicking and works the best, well, Davion should get his chance to reclaim a starting spot just in case he is that kind of defensive X factor that can help us in the way that G's describing. I'm totally with this. And in some ways, Grady and Oshai together as starters on the team have worked really well as a pair. And maybe they will work even better off as a pair off the bench together in that way to help each other. He's saying also keep RJ with Grady and Oshai during rotations, and Grady and RJ play very well off each other. This leaves one of Scotty or RJ on always, and as soon as they both come out, Bucks run. Yeah, that's the thing I hated is that we lost a level of pressure and intensity and continuity and strongness in the game when the bench came in and it all fell apart and unraveled. And that's the thing that has to be avoided by making smarter rotations. That's right there. Most saying, how often do I talk about rotation? Hardly. Thanks, Lex. Glad me and you see it the most. Yeah, no problem. I mean, most very diehard, very positive, supportive fan. So when she criticizes or has criticalness, in some ways, that's when you need to listen because she's going to be nice to the team most of the time. But if she sees something and she wants to opine on it and say something about it, well, you better listen because Mo's not often doing that, is what I'm saying. Wayne's here. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Good morning to you, Wayne. Always good to see you in the chat in the morning. Mike's saying, like every fan base is upset at their coaches' rotations. We went from play the other guys under Nick, and Darko plays everyone. So now people are saying you need to play less. I know it's a situation where not everyone's going to be happy at any time. There's always going to be somebody who's unhappy about something or somewhat. You know, I like the amount of players that Darko plays. Now, maybe he gave too many minutes to the starters a little bit in the game last night because in some ways that's part of the reason why the bench gets choked out. If these guys are only playing like 12 minutes, 15 minutes, sometimes you need to get like 15 to 20 minutes to really get going offensively. Now, in some ways, we need microwave Johnsons, like Vinny the Microwave Johnson, guys who are going to come in off the bench and instantly put points on the board to help us. And that's part of the problem. We don't have that role. Jacoby has signs that he could be that guy, and he could do it right now almost. But we need to put an emphasis on him and that unit and saying this is the guy who's going to fill it up while the more of the starters are out. The same thing with Grady. If we put more of an emphasis on him if he's coming off the bench, then, you know, that's what we're saying. This guy's a guy who's got to hoop it up. And Grady has to know his duty, if he is coming off the bench in games in the near future, is you need to score points, bench points for us to try and battle the bench points that are coming in off the bench for the team we're playing, is what I'm saying right there. Boom goes the dynamite. Boom goes the dynamite. That's right.
Mike's also saying the Raptors pay tons of people to study the numbers and different lineup data. If we see something, trust me, the Raps know. Team goals and player goals are at odds sometimes. We're pushing player goals. Yeah, I think player goals and development are more important than team goals right now this year, because in some ways the team is not competing at a level that makes it sense for that to be the priority. So I think that that's very true what Mike's saying there, and that in some ways the fans may be looking at it from team goals standpoint, and they maybe need to look at it. Well, this is what the player goals are in development and what we're doing right now. That's a good point, Mike. I'll give you a dunk. Mike's coming in with good stuff today with stuff like with what he's saying. So where's Logical Raptors Fanatic on here? There he is. First dunk of the year, Mike. You got your first 3-pointer of 2025. Boom goes the dynamite. Seymour saying we wasted time with Noel, Freeman, Liberty, Doughton. Like, what are we doing at the end of the day? I rely on Masai. Well, Seymour, the way we shuffle guys in and out, like I was explaining earlier with the waiving of Bruno Fernando last night, we have an open roster spot now, and we're going to have tryouts with 10-day contracts with different G Leaguers and some 905ers, just like we did last season, except it'll be a little bit different because it's not because of injuries. It's more to have guys come in, see if their culture fits, see if they're natural fits on the court, see if they're contributors that can be promising in the future to grow to certain levels. That's what we're doing. We've got to look around and try and figure out the whole cast and fine tune it. Like, this was pointed out last night by Matt Devlin in the game, that the Bucks have gone through a lot of different players around Giannis, and they're finding the ones that click and fit with him more and more as time goes on. And Gary may be one of those guys that they found this year. There's different guys that add AJ Green. This guy that started for them, what was his name? The one Jackson, that's a find that's really clicking with them. So these aren't the exact same guys that played for the Bucks when they won the championship. So a team's fluid. You're going to have different people coming in, and they're not a waste of time. Marquise Noel, if he hadn't got hurt, he may have had a path with the Raptors, but he has to continue somewhere else now. Freeman Liberty probably didn't have any kind of future with us, but a lot of people thought he did. We got to try things out, and not everything's going to be a success. I think it's bringing them into the fold and trying them out and just kind of plugging in different people over time. You get ideas of who may be possible for long-term vision. And that's why you do it this way. Those guys aren't fails. They were just part of the process at that time to try them at that time. And not everybody's going to stick in the car with us going forward on the journey. Some of them got to be left out at the rest area, and they just got to stand there by the bathroom and wait for another car to come pick them up. So it's a little bit of that. They're not wastes of time. We tried them out, and we did what we did with them at that time. Mike's saying we need more growth before the team goals can be achieved. Exactly. This is what we have to understand, Raptors fans. We need to have more growth as a team and competency and the level of play that we have before we're going to be able to compete for W's. So people getting upset about not winning last night, even though we're fully healthy, you have to understand this, that we have to get more growth as a unit, as a team, to understand what it takes to win in the NBA. And that's something we're trying to do right now. It's not easy. So Darko's trying to get the best result and growth, and this year is the year to focus on players' goals and draft high in an excellent draft. There you go. Boom goes the dynamite. Sounds good to me. It's a good draft. It's a good year to be a shitty team, to get a good player at the end of the year in the draft. And that's what the Raptors are doing. That's the project right now, guys. That's it. Mike's saying we scout guys and then bring them in and test them and see if they can improve. If you never test them, you can't get a real read on the player long-term. We need to know what we have in the new guys. Mike is just giving the primer and the basics of exactly what I was explaining. Exactly. You got to try them out, see if they have a long-term possibility for really helping and growing in a certain way. And if it doesn't seem like they're growing or they don't get it, they're knucklehead on the down low and you didn't realize it, well, you let them go and you move them on out. That's what it is. G saying barbecue is raw and unseasoned. Yeah, that's a fair description. They need to marinate and slow cook for the right flavor. And that's the thing. In some ways, if we'd use that analogy, we didn't even have the ingredients on the slow cooker yet. It's like we had the meat and the seasoning. No, the seasoning was sitting over there. We had the meat. The grill wasn't turned on. The meat was sitting there on the grill. We had 2 of the 3 components, but the seasoning, the mesquite, was not there to season it. Well, now we seasoned it. We turned the grill on, and it's going to take a little bit to warm up and cook and marinate. That's big thing right there. G's exactly right. It's raw and unseasoned. We just turned the oven on for the first time yesterday. Yeah, it's going to take a little while, guys. 100%. 100%. That's right. Bryce is saying alley oop for logical Raptors fanatic. You know I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. You're going to get an assist on this one, Bryce. We'll give Mike another 3-pointer real quick. 6 for you, Mike. You're at 6 now. 2 real quick buckets for him real fast. Slug Deezy saying Darko is safe for this year for sure, but it will be interesting to see how management feels about him if we have another losing season next year similar to this one. This is what I'll tell people. The development of the team overall as a whole is on the coach, right? So if we see the team progress and get better, and even if we don't win exactly at the highest level, but we see an improvement in the wins, are you going to be mad at Darko if we're still losing more games than we win? But we have a slight uptick and we are showing improvement. That's what I'm saying. In some ways, improvement in what we're doing right now in the rebuild is not going to be the same in everybody's mind what success is. And the people that are like me can see the little things that aren't really like adding up to winning yet, that are happening, that are progressing and going in the right direction. That's what we have to understand. Slug Easy's right. There's not an unlimited time that Darko can just fuck up and lose over and over again and stay our coach forever. No, there is a point in time where I'll say, yeah, we've exhausted things like this, and it may be time to consider a coaching change. But this is way too soon for this, and way, way, way too much of a gut reaction right now. That we need to give him time, really do. In some ways, I would say he needs at least 4 years, maybe, to fully see what he can do. Now, if we're backsliding and we're seeing that things have happened, like he's lost the team, or we're totally like have an uptick, and then all of a sudden we just fall apart and everything is just a chaos again, then he can be in trouble. But it's like you have to allow him to rebuild, and rebuild means build it up, build it up. Now, if he builds it up to a certain level and then it comes crashing down a little bit, that's normal, but it shouldn't come crashing down to a toxic level where everything is in disarray and we're in a point of no return where we can't get back to positive growth. That is when you fire him. That is when you fire him, and not until then is what I'm saying. And I don't think we will fire him. I think he's going to successfully pull this team up out of the crevices of losses and get back to the promised land by the end of it. You'll see it. You'll see it. Mike's saying Darko's building a long-term thing. Darko isn't worried about the record this year. Masai gave Darko the confidence and job security to feel like he can build it over time properly. That's right. We're going to do this. We're going to strike down our team and start all over and rebuild and feel this pain, Raptors fans. We might as well see it through in the right way, in a patient way, so it sticks and we actually get the result we wanted at the end of it. What is the folly of Washington, Detroit, Philadelphia for a long, long time? A miserable losing, maybe trying to cook it in the microwave too fast and not get anywhere and really just spinning your wheels as a franchise. No, we want to do this properly. And y'all need to let Darko do it himself the way he's going to do it over the time he needs to do it. That's what I'm saying. Fiercely saying, Lex, Gary is not having a good season with the Bucks. He was a starter at first and it did not work out. No, that's not why he lost his starting job, Fiercely. You're wrong. He lost his starting job because Chris Middleton got healthy and he returned to the lineup. No, Gary was doing good earlier in the season. You know, I think that he's had a very good year so far this year. He's had a better year this year than he did last year for us. So I'll just put it that way. I mean, he had a good game last night and he's definitely healthier. But him being out of the starting lineup has more to do with them being more healthy than him being a poor player and losing that job. I mean, he did have some bad games, I'm sure. He's a streak shooter. He goes up and down. But, you know, a streak shooter, when he's unhealthy, like he was last year for us, he's more likely to have bad streaks. And, well, if he's healthy, he's more likely to have good streaks and be shooting better. And that's where he's at right now. That's where he's at right now. Seymour's saying, I was never a fan of Gary Trent Jr. I'm a fan of the Toronto Raptors. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a fan of the culture and the team. And you know what? I do birthdays for Raptors of our past, like today. Happy birthday, Muggsy Bogues. It's Muggsy Bogues' birthday today, guys. The shortest player to ever play in the NBA. But I want to honor every person who ever put on the jersey, even some people like fuck faces like Goran. You know, like in some ways, it's a respect to our franchise, our jersey, and our people that came and played for us. You got to understand, y'all. There's so much against us getting free agents. Why would our fans be toxic and shit all over our players when they leave? Maybe that's part of the reputation for why people don't want to play in Toronto. Is Toronto fans don't respect their players after they come and play for them and they leave. Like, yeah, fuck Toronto. Not only is it cold and the taxes are high, their fans are little assholes because they don't respect us. We put our blood, sweat, and tears on the court all the time, and they're so easy to dump on us and treat us like shit. You know, Fred, Kyle, Gary, they can all say this about Raptors fans and how they treated them in the past. So you want to add to that noise, you go ahead, people. but not me. I respect the jersey and I respect the people that have been honored enough to play for the Raptors. And in some ways, we need to keep that a little more sacred than shitting all over it just because somebody left our team and went to play for somebody else. That's what I say about that right there. I'm a fan of the Raptors and I'm a fan of its history. And Gary Trent Jr. is part of our history. How about that? Fiercely saying, hence why he's been off the bench for the last 7 games, as the broadcaster mentioned. It's because Middleton came back. He came back 7 games ago, Fiercely, just so you know that. Is a big part of it is because Chris Middleton was hurt for most of the season. Gary was starting in his place, and he got the starting job taken away from him because Milwaukee's more healthy than ever right now at this part of the season. I hope you can understand that. Yeah, let's see. Tobias saying Lex doesn't seem to see it that way. Yeah, I don't see it in a negative way, and this is why we do this channel. In some ways, we can go off on Darko. We could go off on the players. We can go off on different ways. I'm trying to do it in a fair way, a constructive way that's positive, that's helping towards the future. I could do it in a really toxic way and just get all crazy and mad and yell. And what good is that going to do? Is that going to help anybody? No, it's not going to help anybody. So I'd much rather use my platform to educate Raptors fans in general about the process we're going through right now so that they can handle it in a more mature and knowledgeable way instead of just gut reactions emotionally because we're losing and they feel it. As they feel that they're losing, I feel mad about it. So I'm just going to act out like a caveman. No, let's be modern Homo sapien and think about it with our brains and think about it more clearly with a perspective of long-term and understanding like Mike and I are doing right now. That's the difference right there. I'm telling you, that's the difference right there. All right, there's the classic card answers. All right, let's see where I'm at right now in the chat. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, cool stuff. All right, let me see. Where are we? Holy crap. You guys did fill it up. Oh, Jill's come in to say hi too. All right. Yeah. Good job, Fiercey. Getting that wrote in first. You're not a dumbass, Kareem. You're awesome. You thought that was Kristaps Porzingis. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Now, let's see. Joker on Ozempic is Porzingis. That's pretty funny. Mike said, I was going to go Indy Sabonis. Indy Sabonis? Okay. Slug Deezy saying, got to do 2 classic cards, Lex. I never thought about that. That would make my stream even longer. I am 20 minutes away from a Lexathon. I do need to cut off at 3 hours for sure. But on these reactions, sometimes we do need to go extra over everything. And I feel like last night needed this. Yeah, Mike's saying, but he's way fatter. Yeah, there you go. Jill's here. Hey, Lex. Hey, freaks. Happy Orthodox Christmas today. Yeah, I'm not celebrating this. In some ways, Adriana's Ukrainian, right? And her family did do a celebration yesterday. But in some ways, it's a preordained celebration that Russia forces on the Ukrainian people. And in defiance of things because of the war, they don't celebrate this. So in some ways, I don't recognize this Christmas. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jill. I'm not going to recognize Orthodox Christmas because it's Orthodox to Russia and their fuckface country that invades other countries. So fuck that Christmas. All due respect, Jillian. I'm going to say that right now. There you go. Seymour saying pickleball champ. Hey, Seymour. There you go. Mike saying our first year guys are hitting the 30-game collage wall. Collage wall. That's like a wall that has a collage on it. That's kind of cool. They have never played 82 games, and the season is long, and younger guys need to learn how to handle the ups and downs. I'm totally with that. I'm totally with that. Totally with that. Yeah. And Mike and I are on the same page today for sure. Tobias saying, Jillian, I celebrated that growing up. There you go. Thumbs up. Yeah, I mean, I get why people did it, but in some ways, a country like Ukrainian Christmas was partly because the Russians designated that for Christmas for them, and part of it was because of the Russians. And in defiance, Ukrainian Christmas is canceled. Ukrainian people are not doing the Christmas like yesterday anymore because of Putin and his invasion of Ukraine. So I don't celebrate this. As an Estonian, I'll stand on the side and say, yeah, fuck this Christmas. You guys can do it. You guys are fine doing it, but I have my own personal reasons, and it's because of Russia and the invasion of Ukraine. So, yeah, I ain't down with this. Oh, she gave me a drink water break. Oh, man, I needed this, too. I've been parched. Seriously, thank you, Jill, so much. Thank you. This is the best Orthodox Christmas gift you could give me. Yeah, I needed that. Thank you, Jill. All is well. That's right. Let's see. Wayne's saying, you are correct. Jamal needs to go to the G League. Darko's using players to work on their weaknesses. If you are good shooting on the right side, you're being taught to shoot on the left. Obvious. Yeah,
That's another part of things. We're trying to get guys out of their comfort zone and expand in new ways as players in their development. They may not be very good at certain things right away. This is a really good example of Scotty right now. Like Scotty is being called upon to be our leader and take it to the opposing leader on the other side. And he's doing this more like pronounced in the last 2 weeks than ever his whole entire NBA career so far. And in some ways, being in that new area of what he has to do, he's going to fail to a certain extent. So we need to understand that and give allowances. That he's got to practice to get better at it. And then when he gets better at it, we'll see better results. Watch. Yeah. Mike's saying, facts, Wayne. We need the players to limit their weaknesses before we are able to win big. Yep. Yeah. We need Grady to get bigger and get more, even better on defense. And RJ and Emmanuel know this too. And they've been working on their defensive stuff too to be better and not let that be a weakness and a knock on them. And it is going to take time. And it's not easy, especially with young players that are learning the NBA game at the same time. Carlos saying the team overhelped on Giannis, and then the Greek freak just passes out to shooters to shoot. We have a Giannis stopper in Scotty. We should have trusted him more. Yeah, and I mean, what's the trade-off in some ways? I mean, it could be a philosophical thing. You allow Giannis to get some 2-pointers near the basket instead of getting bombed or 3 like crazy. Do you allow Giannis to do whatever he wants and you cover up everybody else and Giannis doesn't outscore you by himself and you save us from 3-pointers? I mean, there's different philosophies on how to go about it. And the focus really was on stopping the Greek freak last night. But to the detriment of allowing a lot of role players on the Bucks to get going and shoot shots. Brook Lopez, I hate you, man. It's crazy that little step into 3 you do that absolutely broke the game open in the middle. Bobby Portis getting threes, that's just extra for them. In some ways, I hate it. I hate seeing Bobby Portis contribute with 3-point shots. That really, really hurt us. I mean, we have nobody on our side making threes. And meanwhile, we got Taurean Prince, 2 for 5. Brook Lopez, 4 for 8. Dame Lillard, 5 for 8. We expect that from him. Andre Jackson, 1 for 2. Bobby Portis, 4 for 6. Gary Trent Jr., 3 for 5. Yeah, AJ Green, 1 for 2. Stanley Umidi, I don't even know who that is, came in and got a 3 at the end of the game also. DeLon Wright, 1 for 2. Lots of guys contributing threes, 22 threes for the Bucks all of a sudden. But is that the pay? That's the price to pay. You overcover Giannis. The rest of the team gets going. That's a problem. That's a problem. Jill's saying, love that Gary was busy hugging. Love that all ask Kareem thinks Raps can win 54 and 28. Did you hear Garrett Temple say the way the NBA is now, we can't practice as much as we want? That's interesting. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, it's because partly in some ways they want to allow time for them over the holidays. And even though there were a lot of days off, that's time where the players are away from each other and they're spending time with loved ones. So that is part of it. You know, there were some really bad games around Christmas that we didn't get the full treatment of film session and practice to adjust to. And they kind of accumulated together. And then it's like, where do you start? We got to think about the Memphis game. We got to think about the New York game. We got to think about what happened in this Orlando game now. And we're finally getting in practice now. And there's so much we need to clean up all at once. It's like, where do you start in those situations? Did you hear that little moment in the game last night where Jakob almost hit the ball into the Milwaukee goal by accident and scored on our team? It was funny. He said, "Oh my goodness!" You could hear him over the mic under the basket. He's like, "Oh my goodness!" He thought he almost hit the ball into our own basket. That was hilarious. I heard that. Mike saying lumping a lot of player development this year was the plan. When the draft is excellent, players grow a lot, and we get a lottery pick. Yeah, I mean, this is the goal. I was hoping that we could win and develop at the same time, but we can't. So we need to just lean into developing and trying to get a decent draft pick. And I'm not going to nitpick about getting the highest draft pick in the world. We still need to try and win. And if we win, we earned it. Trust me. We've definitely earned it if we win some games. And if it's not the top 3 picks, if it's somewhere in the top 10, I'll be happy. I'll be happy. Some people say, oh, no, a failure is if we get the 8th pick and we still are shitty this whole entire year. Maybe. I don't know where the drop-off is with the top of the draft. And I'm sure if Bobby and Masai get the 8th pick and there's a top 7 that are absolutely heading above everybody, they're going to find that 8th person that's closest. That's what I would say there. That's what I would say there. That's right. Kareem saying at Jillian, did you just touch my ass? Well. Things are getting saucy here. Carlos saying, I agree, Stargate. Let us get through this year, then get that pick, and we'll see next year. Yeah, and we're going to have to develop that youngster coming up too. I mean, everybody's in different stages of development, and there's going to be time. It's going to take time. and cores have to mature. And I don't know when they magically occur to start mature to winning. Look at Thunder. I mean, how long is it taken with SGA in his career and maturing to be a leader, to take his team to the highest level? I mean, what is he? He's almost like a 10-year player getting there now. He's been in the league for a while at this point. That's for sure. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Mike's saying defensive effort is low at the moment. The losses hurt effort, in my opinion. They are tired and feeling like that extra little bit won't make a difference. We need some wins. Yeah, that's part of the gumption that's missing at this point. We came out of the gate running, and we played a lot of really high intensity defensive energy in the beginning of the season. Well, it's tapered off, and that's natural progression of fatigue and also beaten down by losses. Definitely true. Seymour saying, I don't know how ESPN knew before the season that we'd be down this far in the standings. Unreal. Well, it's partly a script that was written. I mean, they're in cahoots. It's also, you can see the signs of it. I mean, last year in the second half of the season, we were really bad after we made all the trades, and we've continued to be that bad still. So it's not like we've changed anything. We were this level the whole time. And even with these guys being healthy, we're seeing right now, but this is just the start. So, part of it is the schedule looked really bad to us from the start. The schedule absolutely was not a favor to a young team that's just starting out in a rebuild. Absolutely not. And they could prognosticate off looking at the schedule. There are people in ESPN that will take our roster and put it against the other teams and actually project the wins for the year. And that's how they could get that stuff. It's not unreal. In some ways, that's an easy prediction to make considering how the second half of our season went last year. So, yeah, with all due respect, fuck ESPN. I'll double down on that with Stargate for sure. I second that. I'll third that, guys. I'll third that. Yeah, that's right. Smooth said, really hoping that the Raptors are going to trade Bruce Brown quickly. No hardballing other teams, man. Yeah. And Bruno waved. Yeah, Bruno waved. We covered that and talked about the impact of that at the beginning of the stream a bit. Kaloi. Yeah, I want them to trade Bruce sooner than later, too. I'm sick of it. I want to see if we can get some good assets coming this way right now. Kareem saying, can we sweep in and steal Imani Bates from Cleveland's G League squad like OKC did with Carlson? Imani Bates is really good, but Cavs can't find minutes for him. Is he a two-way? That's the big basic question. If he's one of their two ways, we can't. But if he isn't, yes, we can. How about that? That's the only thing we got to look at is he a two-way? And is he on a contract with the team? He could be on a contract and doing G League also. It's either a two-way or on contract with the Cavs. Then if he isn't and he's just an available G League player, yeah, we can do that. We can do that. That's right. So we're saying Bruce Brown and Chris Boucher. What? Let's see. Seymour saying Imani would be a blast fit. Yeah, get him. Yeah, I don't mind getting Imani Bates. He'd be interesting. It's just that Cleveland has so many good players. They just don't have a spot with them right now. Just wipe the slate clean from 2019. Yeah, we've been at that point for a while now. Carlos saying we have a roster spot open. It could be a 10-day. It could be something that happens with the trade with Bruce Brown where we take on two players in exchange for one. There could be a couple different ways this shakes out. Mike's saying we don't need to wipe anything. We need to be patient and let this year play out, and we will probably push for a play-in next year. Yeah, I think that's about right. That's the kind of the baby steps we got to do, each in its own way. I've used the escalator analogy, and the escalator, the teams in front of us are going to go up ahead of us, and hopefully they'll get off the escalator or fall off of it and go behind us at some point. But we have to just continue hopefully that our step is going up and we're getting past more of the 30 teams as we progress and get better. So we'll have to see. That's part of development and showing progress is what we're talking about right there. Yeah. We don't need to wipe anything. I'm agreeing with Mike on that. Smooth saying Bradley Beal wants the Lakers, Nuggets, and Heat. Those teams don't want him. Yeah, I don't know who would want Bradley Beal, and I don't understand why his ego thinks he can just determine his career for him. Didn't you already do this with Washington? And you saw what happened? You went to Phoenix, and it's still a mess up. You go to any of those teams, you're going to mess them up still, too. It's not like you're going to make those teams better. You won't make them better, Bradley. I'm sorry. Stargate saying at Smooth, yesterday you mentioned a rumor about the Lakers wanting Bruce and offering Rui. Where did you see that online? I couldn't find anything on that anywhere. Yeah, who knows? Carlos agreeing with Mike. Smooth saying it was on Laker Nation with Trevor Lane. Okay, so it was actual Laker Nation saying that. Interesting. Jill saying Bruno waved. Sigh, we need bigs. Yeah, we need more bigs. I totally agree with Jill on that. Kareem saying quick mental exercise. What if we still had Pascal, OG, and Fred? Would we be in the play-in or would be at the bottom? If we had those guys still and we hadn't shook up our roster, didn't do any of the trades last year, I think it might be still confusing.
Because there's obviously some sort of weirdness with Scotty being the new regime and those guys kind of still hanging around. We would have just prolonged it, I think. I don't know if we've been very successful this year. I think in some ways the new places that those guys went were a breath of fresh air for them in their careers, and they weren't going to get that just staying here in Toronto. Fred needed the challenges of the Rockets. OG needed the new team around him in New York. Pascal needed the change of scenery in Indiana. So I don't know. I can't say that I don't think we'd be at the bottom of the league. I think we'd probably be a middling team that probably wasn't going to go anywhere, kind of similar to what we were when they were still on the team with Dennis and everybody in the first half of last season. So I don't know. That's an interesting mental exercise. But I think the changes that were made last year needed to happen. They're difficult and they're tough to start out on. Tough to start out on. It's like a relationship. You could be dating somebody for a long time and you break up and there's nothing in your life all of a sudden. And you got to take time to kind of like generate new things and energy in your life where you get a new person and you start building a new relationship with them. So it's tough. It's tough. Let's see. Stargate saying, I saw a rumor about the Lakers offering Rui for Zach LaVine. Wow, that's a way better deal than ours. This is tough. Trevor Lane is the only Lakers guy I watch. Okay. And Stargate saying, oh, you heard it on a YouTube fan channel. Okay, very credible source that is. Yeah, I don't know. Some people may be using me as a source sometimes. Raptors source says this or this. And I've wondered about that before. Like I said something on the channel once, and then later on I saw a credible source says that this is what's going on with the Raptors. I'm like, wait, am I that anonymous credible source? Because just somebody watched me on my YouTube channel all of a sudden. That'd be funny if that's actually happened before. I can't say for sure it has, but there's been situations where I felt like that may have been happening. So we said Evan Siddery also reported on it as well. Now, that is a legitimate person that could report on it and say something about it. There you go. Jill saying congratulations to Mo on her new chair. That's fantastic. Mike saying a 10-day guy into a trade, or we sign two-way guy, ours or someone else's. We need an extra roster spot to trade Bruce. We have $23 million in Brown and the MLE, $13.5 million, so we can take on money for assets. Yeah, we cut some money off with Bruno, and we have an open roster spot for a trade. And that's the basics of it right there. That's right. Carlos saying, I don't know about you guys. I'm excited about the future evolution of barbecue yak. I am too. Whether it's a barbecue yak flavored with dick or a bhaji. Pause, Lex. Why'd you say that? It's going to be a good barbecue yak in the long run. It's just we got to figure out the rotations and the minutes and the learning together and get better over time. Kareem saying Bradley Beal got benched and now dropped 25. I wouldn't be surprised if a team wants him to punch for a deep playoff run. Bruce Brown has now lost all credibility. Might get a bag of chips for him. Yeah, Bruce, dude, if you really want to get moved or maybe he doesn't want to get moved, he's submarining himself. I like being on the team with Scotty. I like wearing my cowboy hat. I like being in Toronto. I don't want to get traded, Masai. I'm going to suck on purpose so you can't trade me. That would be horrible if that's why that he's like that right now. Yeah, because he isn't building a case to get traded right now. He really isn't. Mike's saying Brown needs to find a rhythm. He was out for a long time and playing hurt before that. I know. I want to see his rhythm. Come on, Janet Jackson. We need you to be a part of Rhythm Nation. And get out there and get your rhythm back, Bruce. Because man, I don't know. One knee Bruce is better than two knee Bruce so far, at least from what I've seen from last year and this year. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Smooth saying Kareem Thomas. That's why they need to trade him quickly. Yeah, well, I don't know if they need to trade him quickly. I don't know. They may need to still show him a little bit, get some good games out there, and then maybe the value will increase. Mike's saying we need to cycle Bruce through the rust. Teams don't want to have to ramp Bruce up. So if we do the ramp up job for him, then maybe he'll be more attractive. I get what you're saying, Mike. Mike's been on point today. Mike has really been on point. Out of everybody in the chat today, Mike is the one who's talking, spitting facts left and right. That's right. Reggie's saying he serves no purpose on this team, takes minutes away from Walter and Grady. I'll agree with this, but it may be a necessary evil to showcase him right now. Stargate saying if the Raptors get a player like Rui for Bruce, that's a huge upgrade and a fleece, if you ask me. So unless LeBron is really wanting Bruce in LA, I don't see Pelinka being that foolish. I don't know. Never underestimate the foolishness of NBA GMs not named Masai. How about that? I agree. It would be a fleece and it'd be an absolute upgrade. I'm totally with it. I love the idea. So we're saying the more Bruce plays, the more risk he gets hurt again. The more risk he gets hurt again, the more he may look bad, but also the may look good, and he may get us a better trade if we do play him. We have to risk. That's what they say. A safe ship that never travels out and stays safe in the harbor doesn't experience life at all. We can't hide him and hold him to be cautious.
We need to be daring and allow what is going to happen with him at that time. Shit, lunchtime. It is 12:30. I need to get done. I'm 2 minutes away from 3 hours. That's too much. And no more comments for sure, guys. 20 minutes a game is a good mark for him. We need him to play to trade him. And if he makes mistakes, we get a better pick. But he'll eventually get back to his regular production, in my opinion. I hope he's so sooner than later. Bruce, you need to look better. Three points in 17 minutes is not going to cut it. We have a month to showcase him. Maybe look at a sign and trade in the summer.
Fuck, I don't want to hang around with them and do a sign and trade in the summer. I'd rather trade him before, and so there's no possibility of him screwing us over or anything in the summer as a free agent. So yeah, no, we need to do this like Siakam last year and get him done at the trade deadline, is what I'm saying right now. Yeah. Stargate saying Bobby and Messiah are not trading for Bradley Beal to Toronto. So people get that out of your heads immediately. If anybody's pushing that right now, you're crazy. First of all, I don't think Bradley will want to come here. And second of all, he'd be a nuisance. He'd probably be a headache, and he'd probably be bad for team vibes. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, Carlo's laughing at it. And Mo, thank you for the no more comments. I really need to hold this down right now, guys. And if you're not listening to her, you need to. Cream saying nobody wants Beal. I'm saying him doing well off the bench brings Bruce Brown's value down. So he's saying a Beal contract of $49 million still, $51.5 million, and $52 million player option. That's ridiculous. He's not worth that. Stargate saying, as I mentioned earlier, Darko must have another system put aside for the future. Post individual development, this will include different rotations, starting lineup, player positions, etc. It's all in flux, and it's all going to be it's all in flux. And you're right. It's like this mode. There are different play sets he's going to use right now for what the goals are. And down the road, as things change, Darko's always looking at basketball stuff and learning. So it could very well be some of the stuff we're going to do in the future he hasn't even learned yet. And he'll implement it as the team evolves and the league evolves also. So that's part of it. Jill saying, Lex, admittedly, I lived in Alberta. A lot of Ukrainians, January 6th was Jesus' actual birthday, but it was moved to the harvest celebration with trees, gifts. For me, Christmas is over. February 13th. Yeah, I mean, no disrespect. I don't have a history with Orthodox Christmas. I just, through Adriana and dating her, over the years, I understand that this was a very special time for them up until just in recent years. And it's really the war that's turned people off from celebrating that on that day because it was ordained by Russians. And in some ways, in defiance of that, they don't want to do Christmas on this day anymore because that's what's being told to them by the Russians. And that's why. I don't know. There's a lot of different people that probably do Christmas yesterday, but I'm just speaking at it from a Ukrainian perspective. It could be that there's other cultures and places that don't have this as part of it, and that's kind of why I'm talking about it that way. Yeah. Stargate saying, Lex, you missed one of my comments between Logical's draft comment and Kareem's ask comment. I'm not gonna go back and look right now. I'm over 3 hours, and honestly, I didn't do the timeout today, and that was better, but it has elongated the stream. So remember, guys, I do want it tight and concise, and if there's too much repetition in comments, especially if there's a comment you've already made and we've already kind of talked over it, maybe not go back to that subject and boomerang back to it because it will get me over 3 hours like right now. That's the trade-off. I don't want to put the timeout on you guys because it was a problem the day before and I didn't put it on today. But also that's why I was also saying limit your comments and maybe like ideally each person could get like a dozen comments for the whole stream. If you're going like 20 comments and we're doing way, way too much, that may be too much is what I'm saying. So we want to respect the time, and I don't want to put the timeout on. I mean, this has been pretty good without the timeout, but I am over time, partly because of it also. I would go back and read it, man. If you want to write in this short bit of it right now at the end of it, last comment, and that's it, and I'll get out of here. Mike saying, Masai decided to draft 4 guys to ethical tank word. If you're looking to win, you don't usually bring in so many rookies because they need time, and that equals mistakes. That's a very good point. We have a huge rookie class right now. And usually a good team will just bring in 1 or 2 rookies every year, but we have a huge rookie class. And that's why part of the plan was we're going to struggle when we're in development year. That's exactly right. More mistakes. Exactly right. The MLE can be used as a trade exception now. So teams with free agent issues can use the MLE in a way that actually helps. I like that. And Jill's got my, it's time to go eat. And push the like button. Thank you, Jillian Moody, for that. All right, the Raptors got blown out by the Bucks, fully healthy last night, and a lot of Raptors fans are pulling their hair out because they're upset. Well, watch the full stream that I did just now from the start, and you'll hear my explanation at the very beginning in the first 20 minutes of why Raptors fans need to chill and just not take a snapshot of the present time and project it for the whole rest of the future in the future.
No, no, you can't do that on a win or a loss. This game is always in flux, and this team is ever changing and progressing. And that's why I say, get off the ledge, Raptors fans, and come with me and look to the brighter future that we're building with Darko as our coach. It's going to be all right. Just trust us. The 3 stars of the game for me yesterday were RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, and Jakob Poeltl, with an honorable mention to Jacoby Walter off the bench. We have Wade, Bruno Fernando. It's going to give us a lot of flexibility, and there are going to be new people coming into the team to get tryouts with the Raptors over the next little bit, depending on whether we trade Bruce Brown for 2 players or not. So we'll have to see. Happy birthday to the great NBA legend, Muggsy Bogues, who's turned 59 today, guys. Happy 59th birthday to the great Tyrone Muggsy Bogues out of Dunbar High School, the shortest player to ever play in the history of the NBA at 5'3". He's a luminary in our alumni, somebody that's to be proud of, even if he wasn't his best years in Toronto. He is a very embraced Toronto Raptors alumni who returns to our city on the regular, who puts on blast. He's a Raptors alumni, and this is why we got to love somebody like Muggsy. And this is why we should respect and take care of all of our alumni that are in good standing with us. Sure, you don't have to like Goran Dragic. Sure, you don't have to like Rudy Gay, but you should like Fred VanVleet. You should like DeMar DeRozan, and you should like Gary Trent Jr., is what I'm saying about that issue today. So happy birthday, Muggsy. So happy to see you guys get your birthdays and grow old. I love Muggsy Bogues. That's right. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, or join the channel. Joining means you get access to our Facebook chat during the game, and you get to hear Monique, Trevor, myself, and other people opine on the game live during the game. You can see what we're saying. I fell asleep during the game last night, actually. No lie. I was in garbage time, and I'm like, man, this is so bad. It's a nightmare. And I just passed out, and I went and watched the highlights later of the end of the game. But yeah, the game put me to sleep. It was so bad. That's like, yeah, I was in a sleeper hold. Let's go, Raptors. I'll preview tomorrow for the Raptors versus the Knicks and MSG, a game that was supposed to be on ESPN. They took it off the schedule because we're so bad. Let's go, Raptors. Keep shining bright. Barbecue's going to be all right.